Why I think Falcons may yet spring a bit of a surprise.
Even the big brain that is socials don't know which way this one's going. There's 51-49, leaning ever so slightly by the most minimal of margins in the favour of Falcons. We've got our bands coming on through for the opener on Clubhouse. We're going to have Monty and Cade taken away. No major surprises there. Blitz and Bandit will follow. Fair enough. Bandit. So having that combination of operators banned out is no major surprise. Bandit on Clubhouse is sometimes a little bit of a surprise. I think, you know, on the defensive side, I think there can be more impactful operators sometimes. Obviously, you're looking towards CCTV wall. The Bandit trick there is reasonably easily dealt with. Again, Jacuzzi wall, I'd say, you know, fairly similar things. I think taking away the Kaid, absolutely fine. But I'd maybe, you know, preference other things on the defense than doubling down on the electricity side of things.
I think some would say lean towards that, but for Secret, it's kind of a staple. Like in all but one of the games they've played in this map in their recent history, there's 7 games they've played. In fact, no, in every single one of Malara, I was thinking they were on 8 games, but I was more looking towards Falcons' 8-3 record on it. In the 7 games that we've seen Secret play on this over the last 6 months, Bandit and Kaid have been their bans every single time. And they will always ban those operators away. They then get a little more flexible with their third ban. You see a lot of his army, a little bit of Mirror, taking away Clash once. But it has just been their go-to bread and butter is to take away these 2 Electro Bro operators and try and give themselves a bit more freedom. But Tim, on the other side, it's about the shield bans, and I've already kind of said it in the pre-game what I was expecting. Savage, shield player, you're going to want to try and get things banned away from as aggressively as you can. You've seen the Monty and the Blitz taken away from him. It does leave the Blackbeard on side, and Jube's going to hop straight onto that here in round 1 to get ourselves moving.
Doom would have been my choice of Secret players for, you know, kind of ones to watch that need to come through and have a big game. We've seen it from him repeatedly. We saw it from him in that upper bracket final as well. So I think, you know, Secret will be more than pleased if he can put down a similar performance to that. Adrian, for the time being, is just going to be putting those claymores on. Is he going to the right place? That's the question. Going to be going on the window for now. Solotov picks up Adrian as he is doing so. Not sure if that was on a jump out or a run out or where he's got that angle from, but putting the claymore down certainly did not keep Adrian safe.
Absolutely not, Tim. Well, here we go. We're already trying to steamroll our way through here and try and get a bit of pressure going, but it's looking good so far for Falcons. Couple of kills building up, but as we all know, Tim, lives are pretty fragile inside a siege. A couple of shots can turn things around entirely. And look at Solotov and Yusuf both dangerously low, pinned in against the bottom of Mainstairs door as Mowgli dives on him, shuts him out the round. It's a 3v3 with half of it still to play. The strongest thing started for Falcons, Tim. All things are now equal.
Yeah, Secret have fought back in really well here. I thought we had an interesting little scene there. As you saw users running down, I don't know if you noticed, but Breeder was there frantically trying to rip the barricade down for him to give him an escape at bottom main stairs. He knew that he was having problems, but he just couldn't get there in time. Solotov as well, let's not forget, on very low health as it stands. So, Secret, this is more than doable as they get the kitchen hatch open, start to work their way through Dirt Tunnel. Goyo canister is detonated, but they're still going to have plenty of time left afterwards. And right now, it's kind of just hold your positions, wait for this fire to burn down. Mowgli's just taken a load of damage. That's not ideal timing. They want Doom down at the bottom of this Dirt Tunnel so that they can push elsewhere.
The patience now being shown as we're coming on towards that last 40 seconds or so. Mowgli into his second of the round. He's had a quite couple of games recently, Mowgli. This is his day to go big, Tim. Then this one's going to be a pretty quick series. Shaiko going to shut him down. In comes Doom. Can't quite win out his one. And now Savage is going to go big, but it's Shaiko. 2 kills to close things out and give Falcons round 1.
Yeah, real back and forth in that round. Falcons came out so strong, but I want to pick up on something Secret did earlier in the round, which I like. They took down Leakafak up on top floor quite easily, and that screams that they know what he's going to be doing. We've seen Leakafak being an absolute menace the last couple of times we've seen Falcons on Clubhouse, playing up on that top floor, roaming around in logistics and construction, in cash, dropping away, falling back to strip and then playing the rest of the round. We all know what the pattern looks like. We all know what Leakerfat's been doing, and he's been getting away with it. But Secret said, absolutely not. We've got your number. We know what the play is going to be. And they dealt with him. But unfortunately, they'd just taken too much damage along the way to then be able to capitalise. So Falcons did well to hold on. Nice double from Shaiko at the end. He's always that player that you're going to look to give you that backstop, that little bit of safety at the end of a round. And he delivered once again, as he has so many times before. So Falcons start off 1-0.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
All right, good stuff. Now we go to gym bedroom. Classic second site that we step to off the scene. Basement and this site being the two that we jump between as the primary sites, and then Cache CC often is our tertiary. 2 minutes required, of course. Sometimes you even see one of these two sites replayed, so we'll see what we do in round 3. But now, of course, I imagine for the side of Secret, it's going to be a focus on getting control of the east side of the map. I imagine those of you at home watching, you've seen a hell of a lot of Clubhouse. You know how it goes by now. When you're defending your bedroom, it's very, very common to see defenders extend out towards this east part of the map, so they can have a bit of pressure on towards the south balcony from the window inside of CC itself. So the attackers naturally don't want that to happen. They want to force the player out of CC so they can have control of that window themselves, make sure no one's going to challenge their players on the south balcony looking in towards site. It's very, very standard stuff here. Secret have got themselves quite a wiggle on here, open up the majority of walls they need as well. Adrian, both exothermics being used, the Selma on towards VIP. However, they have got a sneaky little rat out here. It is Shaiko, and he's got quite a bite on him, this rat, Tim. It's going to be hard to move away. Kiba's also holding him in place here. Brede in his classic spot of bathroom holding off towards Breach itself. So you can get a good few C4 kills from this spot historically as well. So now Secret have got these lines of resistance they've got to try and break through here. I imagine the first pinch should really be onto Shaiko inside a garage, given he's all alone.
Yeah, they need to just try and pressure him there, but they don't necessarily have the tools to allow them to do it. That is the problem that they are facing when it comes to moving Shaiko along. But we've got a really fascinating story playing out in front of us in this first half. When we look at it, it's actually Falcon's strongest side on Clubhouse is defense with a 63% win rate. Secret's strongest side on Clubhouse is attack with a 61%. So whoever comes out on this first half has sort of delivered a message to the other, if you will, and it's a really big start. Shaiko does get taken down there. That's catwalk clear. Secret moving through quickly. They're certainly not scared of working with pace, and I love to see that from them.
I've spoken about Secret a few times, them and G2 being the two teams that we have in EML who have got a far more superior attacking side than they do defensive side. And I wouldn't say it's quite showing itself so far, but give it a bit of time. Mowgli carries on his hot streak as well. 3-1 now, steps himself up to, matching up to Shaiko so far. A numbers advantage with a minute to play, really. There's no excuse that Secret should be seeing this one run away. They've got the south balcony control. They've got the main breach at the ready. It looks like they're angling up for a gym plant here. In we go. Adrian stepping on forwards. It's a little bit cheeky. Love that from Yusuf. What a place to be when the execute's going off. Gets one, they get a second, make it a third. Solotov in towards 2. Secret, no idea what's just hit them, Tim. That is the sign of a little bit of counter prep and knowing the tendencies of your opponents. Wonderful stuff. Mowgli, I don't think he can do this one by himself in a 1 versus 3, but fair play to Falcons. They've pulled off a blind river defense here.
Yeah, I love that from them. It's not the usual angle that we would see for challenging. You know, sometimes we'll see a player go down into dirt tunnel and have a look through the soft wall, but you can't really catch the rappel from there. You can only get players that are kind of stood right up towards the edge of that sort of balcony area. But brilliant stuff from users, and it just seemed to rattle Secret, even if only for a second or two. Falcons then took full advantage of that and pounced and got the second kill as well. And the round is pretty much won, and sometimes that was all it takes. Secret were in a flow and users disrupted it. Great stuff.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, really well started out by Secret. I thought they looked well primed and ready to win. A player coming construction, player coming from the window, player on the breach. This is what upset everything though, because not having a player on that rappel anymore means that these main stairs players and the players in Logi are a bit freer to move back and forth, to be able to adapt to what's coming in, rather than being binned down by the player on the rappel. So really smart stuff from users. Definitely felt quite a high-risk thing to be doing when you knew the site was about to get smashed to pieces, but it paid off for them, and Falcons are up 2-0 here so far on Club. Now we go across towards that offsite that I mentioned in Cash and CC. Always curious to see how this one plays out because really just two typical approaches. You tend to get the main breach opened up and then put your attention in one of two directions, out towards the west, out here towards Master and Jim, or down towards the south and you try and hold them towards Garage. If you're feeling particularly brave, you can do all three, which is what Falcons are doing here. The risk being you're then stretching yourself quite thin and really just asking for Secret to come and slap you about nice and quick.
Have that garage door opened up almost immediately. The wall as well. So again, Shaiko is going to find himself in trouble. Last time it was down to, in the last round, it was down to him challenging onto the breach that he lost his life. He was kind of cornered and didn't have too much of a choice. This time he's going to come under a lot more pressure. They've got the Blackbeard, they've got the Capito, both operators that will be great at getting that job done. Interesting, yeah, there we go. Nade comes in to try and prevent that mirror trick. Another one is going to be the case. Brink, he decides he's going to firm it. He gets down by the nade. He will possibly be able to. He needs a little bit of luck here. He might be able to crawl his way to safety. Doesn't actually need to. It's going to be Solotov who runs through and manages to pick his teammate up. Honestly, I think that's a net win for Falcons there.
Yeah, looking pretty good, hey? Like, no complaints too much. They've kept themselves alive. Breeder's not gone down in the process either. Everything is looking pretty peachy. Not too bad. Now we'll see what the focus is going to be on the side of the attackers, though. For me, again, it's about trying to get rid of Shaiko, force him out of Garage. He's still dug in there for now, but they've got all this prep work going on. They want some pressure to come in from this west side. If they do try and play around all three positions, that's quite rare to see attackers use all three directions. You tend to try and isolate two and make that a thing. At least I can think in, 90% of cases I've seen that you focus on the main breach and then one of the other two. Very rarely do you see all three, but I would expect that Mowgli is thinking, cool, I want to put pressure on him here. We've got the Capital. Let's make him suffer. Leak, in fact, just about managed to escape on this one. Smoke's coming on through as well. Bit of a pre-fire coming in from his teammate onto the hatch there to give him cover. Breeder being a good teammate. And Leak, in fact, gets back inside of sight. But we wasted 2 minutes, Tim. Really good start so far, I'd say, from Falcons here.
Yeah, I love this defense from them. Solotov picks up the all-important entry as well, taking down Noah. And that's the Deimos gone. So no threat from beneath now as well. Great stuff. 5v4. Nitro comes out unsuccessful. But they can just keep pressuring. Leak, in fact, manages to get the kill onto Savage. 3v3 as Secret continue to fight, but Falcons right now just looking so dominant here on Clubhouse. There is nothing that Secret seems to be able to do to cut them down, but Leak, in fact, finds himself inside of a crossfire. 2v2. Nitro underneath. Oh, nearly gets his man. Does indeed get his man, but it's with the bullets and not the Nitro.
It's again as well Shaiko walking away with a 2K to close out the round. Same in round one, same here just now. Wrap things up nice and tight. Looking good for Falcons so far. And Secret, I like the ideas they're showing though, Tim. Like, their approaches have been good. They just haven't quite got the end result they're looking for. It reminds me of a lot of teams that we've spoken about around the world throughout the stage where we said, they get 85, 90% of the way there. And then it's at the end of round where things fall short a little bit. That's what it feels like for Secret right now. They've just been chewed up or outplayed by Falcons in so many situations that, unsurprisingly, as you may have just seen, we are going to step ourselves into attack timeout. Looking Breeder there, ready to get caught out so early on by the nade. At least he got recovered though, hey?
Yeah, I think it was overall, I said at the time, definitely a net win for Breeder and Falcons there. It was, taking the decision, I'm going to tank this damage. Maybe it kills me, maybe it doesn't. But just getting that trick off, preventing that wall being opened up. Big moment for them. And as we saw, it forced Secret elsewhere, playing then into Leakifact's hands. So, there's layers to this. It's not just about that one moment of keeping a breach closed. It's what it then does for you through the rest of the round. Falcons were ready for that. They were prepped. They knew that the pressure was then going to mount from Master and Construction side, and they got the kills that they needed to close it out. Well played from them, and Secret calling that tack timeout.
Just about to end in its spire here as well. Very common these days that you see it after that third round. You get the extra ban come on through. You're playing the same 3 sites again, most likely, so it feels like the optimal time for coaches to step in and have the conversation. If you're seeing tack timeout sooner than that, something is going pretty drastically wrong that needs fixing. Normally an energy issue, a communication issue, whatever else it might be. But here at that third point, it's not too unsurprising. Secret do need to get themselves on the board here. And now we've got Savage stepping across to playing on that Blackbeard, taking that responsibility away from Doom. We'll see what they can achieve because, Tim, I'm seeing Leaky back getting across onto that Scopus. And last time we saw this, I think we all remember what happened. He was a bit of a terror inside a strip, got himself a 3K out there. Do we see the same again, or does he mix things up? I can't imagine he wants to play things exactly the same way they did before. Otherwise, Secret coming with counter prep ready and could shut him down.
Yeah, he was on the... That's exactly what happened in round one, to be fair. He was on the score post there, but
true.
he was playing inside of logistics. Secret were ready for it. You know, they knew exactly where he'd be starting out, that he'd be up on that top floor.
He's up there again.
Exactly. He's going to do this every time because he knows it really well. He has a lot of success with it, and he is going to continue to do it. So it's all down to, you know, how well are Secret prepared for this? How ready are they? It needs to be... I'm looking towards Savage, really, to force his way in there with the Blackbeard. And there we go. Brilliant stuff. It's Mowgli who happens to get into stock quickly. They've recognised that that hatch was open and it was maybe a route back to site. Maybe a little bit of a mistake from Leaker back there. I'm not sure where his second shell is, but sometimes, you know, you've got to take the shortcut. You go the long way around and you get punished.
That's how the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid. Sometimes you are the one getting the 3K, sometimes you're the one being killed in the entry incredibly quickly and giving your team a 4 versus 5 to face off against for the vast majority of the round. But like I've already said a couple of times throughout this game, and I'll say it again here with the hope that it happens at some point. Secret, you've got a man advantage, you've got good time to play with. Shouldn't really be an excuse that we see this round slipping away now. They've got a spot to capitalize on the situation before them. Bullets are still dancing around upstairs and looking to cause a bit of bother. So even though they've lost one of their players, they don't want to sit back and be happy with the 4 versus 5. No, they want to try and make this a 4 versus 4 before he even thinks about falling away. I like it.
Just again, trying to sweep across this top floor. Secret Solotop finds himself in a tough spot now. Gonna have to fight his way out of trouble more than likely. Not going to be able to as Doom steps in, gets the kill. Confident movement from Secret. 1 minute 20. They need to start working towards those lower floors now. They've got Falcons pushed back into sight. They should know that. So it's about now starting to do that prep work. Get in there, get those verticals being worked. They've not actually got too much on their side in terms of vertical destruction here. They've got enough to get the hatches, but other than that, it's going to be quite a bit of safety I would have expected for Falcons in sight. This round isn't quite over yet.
No, they've got to move pretty fast here. They've got 3 hard breach charges to go through for the blue hatch, the star hatch, and of course the kitchen hatch. So quite a bit they can chew their way through, but need to get a bit of a wiggle on. I was going to say these breach charges in the back pocket of the IQ certainly able to open up some verticals for them, but they won't be able to get all the control they need. To be very much right, which means back Arsenal could be at least a little bit of a threat here. You're kind of relying on being able to take firefights through wood. At that point, if there is a player dug in there, sort of relying that no one will be on the side of Falcons because you have got the man advantage. And sure enough, Tim, they're getting away with it here as well. This is the easy 1v1 to win out inside of dirt. And now it's a 1 versus 4 for Shaiko. Complimented him a couple of times. There's those goddamn cap cans again, Tim. They strike big. Now Shaiko's got to hold on, but doesn't see the man off towards blue. Doom finding his man, and finally Secret are on the board. Yeah,
Blackbeard was, you know, quite rightly from Shaco taking a lot of focus there. He knows he can't take his eyes off him because as soon as he does, that shield's going to drop, that AR's going to pull out, and he's got another problem to face. But ultimately, 1v4 was a big ask. Capcan trap did help. Got him a little bit along the way, but much better from Secret. They closed down Leak of Fact really, really quickly. Got that kill. That stuff, it should be getting done because it is predictable. As I've said, we've seen it from him time and time again. We know where he's going to start. We know where he's going to play. We know what his patterns of movement are going to be when he's defending Church and Arsenal. So Secret have read into that. They've got him closed down, got the kill. Solotop then's all alone up on the top floor. Fights for his life, but can't get anything. And Secret punish them from there. Good stuff. Falcons still 3-1, but Team Secret at least give themselves something to work from.
Exactly that, right? It's all stuff to build on now. Now, do you think Falcons are going to give themselves, give together 2 players early in the round again? Absolutely not. They'll course correct here. And already, look at the lineup they're bringing along this time, Tim. It is so dug in, it's crazy. Like, this is not really a roam cop we've got here. They want to try and waste a bit of time on that extended hold, like I mentioned before. But most importantly, they want all players back on site after that to be able to hunker down. You'll kind of see them squashed in towards the top side of site towards the end of the round. That's when things get pretty damn spicy. But the more time that they can waste here behind the mirrors, behind the FNATs, behind the glass shield, behind the C4s, and of course behind those Goyos, the more sweaty this gets for Secret. But Secret are no slouch, as I said before. They're a pretty quick attacking team, a very successful attacking team. They will know, like we heard Savage saying in that content piece before this game, that when they see what they see in the prep phase, they see the Goyos, they see the Jammers, they see the Clash, they know that the enemy team are trying to play quite slow for the late round, and that is certainly not a way to do things, guys. What the hell happened there? How have they let that happen?
Yeah, really not an ideal start losing that Blackbeard. We've seen them having some joy with it over the last couple of rounds, particularly in the last one, the 2v1 at the end there. Sharko really didn't stand a chance because of it, but June does manage to pick him up a very late trade, but the Goyo is gone. That leaves us now 4 versus 4. Secret can start building a little bit of something. Last time around when they were attacking this site, getting rid of Sharko on Catwalk was a big catalyst for them to move forward, aggressively take construction and cash. That's going to be the next bit of the plan.
Sure, I mean, Goyo often is a roam you'll see going around. You know, great gun in terms of the Vector, the rate of fire, and that's crazy to get headshots all day long. And your work is done, kind of like Jaeger would be. Your gadgetry is placed down, you're free to go and do what you please. That's why he's playing off in the extended hold. I think once you find that you've got a Blackbeard, you kind of earn the right to do whatever you want for the rest of the round. Like, you've got rid of arguably the most important piece of the puzzle on the other side, in the hands of Savage as well. Like, Shoko's done a great deal of work there and still trying to work our way through this east side of the map. Chew our way through slowly here. We're going to find ourselves largely blown out here, I would expect. Twitch drone also rolling on through to pick up more and more gadgetry as they move on through. So they are softening up the site and taking away things that would impede them later. But can they win out of 4 versus 4 when there is a clash on the other side?
Mowgli's just looking to push towards logistics, I think. Going to get a bit of support from above in the shape of Noah, just making sure that behind the desk is clear, which it is. We do see there is a defender just knocking about in there. It's going to be Breedy, and he's going to be punished. Mowgli manages to make it a second with one onto Solotov. Surely this is the moment. Mowgli manages to make it 3, no more, says Leakenback as he picks up a double, and all of a sudden a 1v4 becomes a 1v2. Secret could be kicking themselves soon. Leakenback full health. This is doable.
And that bulletproof still sat there as well. Like, surely it gets shot out, but they're worried about him at this point. He gets 1 kill and just goes and plays behind the bulletproof from below with his C4 in back pocket. He could go for the denies. Left it a bit late here, Tim. Makes the cross. Can he C4 in that back corner? Goes for it as well. Will he find the man? No, he doesn't quite get him. I think the diffuser would have gone down anyway. It was down to a sliver. Only a few microseconds, but it was enough. Adrian's got him inside a Secret. Very ironically named at this point, but it's another round going the way to Secret. A close round, but still one well-deserved.
As I said a couple of rounds ago, we are seeing both of these teams on statistically their best side of this map. Secret have the better attacking stats on Clubhouse, and Falcons have the better defensive stats, and it's no surprise to see this one at the minute careering towards a possible 3-3 split, and just a deadlock before we come into that second half. It was a good attempt by Leakenback at the end here. Gets himself the big double, but ultimately just couldn't find that aggression that he needed to get himself into the fight and get that nitro deployed and maybe, just maybe, get a little bit more value out of it. Wasn't going to be the case, and so we move on. It's round 6, back down to Church and Arsenal. We've seen this site twice, and it's been a 50-50 split. Falcons were able to win it back in the first round. Secret won it in round 4. And now they're going to be going again. You just wonder, is that Azami ban going to be the difference? It was Shaiko playing the Azami in round 1 on this site, got a 3k. And Falcons go on for a win in that round, and then when he had to do it again in round 4 without the Azami, it was a different outcome.
Well, Secret could pull this back and get a 3-3. It's going to feel like a real smash and grab operation. The Falcons will be kicking themselves and let it fall down to that point. Again, we know Secret are a better attacking team than they are a defending team, which sounds weird to say, but it's true. Their stats are better on the attacking side. Yeah, switching over, will you see Falcons be able to pick up the slack a little bit on their attacks and have a solid half themselves? I don't know. The only way to find out, though, is get through this last round of the half, and then we'll see how things begin to develop. Again, this same focus, like we spoke about Tim a few times now, playing around the map, looking to waste a bit of time. Leakenback and Solotov being the main ones dancing around, but you've also got Users and Shaiko also hanging around this first 4 at the same time. So they really are trying to set up a lot of ways in which they can trip over the attackers here, slow them down, force them to have to rotate players over to different parts of the map to deal with these would-be roamers. It's a lot to disrupt the game plans from Secret, and I think it's a really good idea when paired up with things like the Castle, like the Goyo, to try and slow the enemy team down more. The more time you waste around the map, the more effective that gadgetry is going to be later. Yuzu's instant headshot on towards Doom. That's the switch offline.
Yeah, big start there. That's just going to secure a few of those gadgets, your Guzmot mines, your Vulcan canisters, your FNATs. unlikely, or at least more likely to stay active as the round continues. I like this from Mowgli, though. He's just got a little bit of a pocket play coming out here, having a wander down into blue. We'd normally see Shaiko playing in this sort of location to try and prevent that pressure coming down here, but Mowgli, he's been able to just get himself secured, and he's going to sit there, and you know in a minute's time you're going to see his name flash onto that kill feed as he picks somebody up when they rotate out there without knowing he's there, and it is Shaiko himself taken down, and Mowgli takes possession of blue, but no, Users, he's having a big round, he's there for the trade, takes him down. 4v3 advantage Falcons.
All right, that's a great way to keep things trucking over here as well. Sure, you've lost Shaiko again, but the impact he's having throughout this half, Tim, he's 8-4 for God's sake. Yes, he's died early on a few times, but he's getting kills that count. And here it's more about setting up uses to get those kills. As we've seen, 2 on the castle so far. It's a 3 versus 4. The secret to try and win inside 45 seconds. Users makes it a 3rd in the round. Surely, Tim, I don't want to jinx him, but build it towards an ace? Nah. Leakyvat's got a C4 on towards Savage. Just Noah left. It looks like we will get the 4-2 half that Falcons would have been hoping for.
Looks like the first blow will be dealt by Falcons then. Noah does come down, takes out Users, but believe me, he has done his damage in this round by far and above what would have been needed. Noah manages to make it 2. 1v4 becomes a 1v2. Feels a little bit more possible. 15 seconds left. Falcons at the minute not wanting to take these fights, and that's why Breedy, oh boy, was that close. Leakyvat steps around the corner. Noah was still shooting. There's a world where he pops a headshot, but it didn't happen. Falcons able to get themselves another round, 4-2. And as I said, it was a little bit closer than I thought it was going to be towards the end there, but Falcons managed to deal that first big blow. And like I said, that first half was both teams on their stronger clubhouse side, and Falcons are the ones that come away with the 4-2. They're the ones on top. If we look towards Secret now, and their trend on playing clubhouse, defensive win rate drops down to just above 50%. That's not going to be good enough here. They need to be hitting that 65% mark realistically to keep themselves in this.
This is where I think you're really going to find what team of Falcons rocking into this finals as. Yeah, I said earlier on, Falcons we've already seen play tonight. I think they're in some of the better form that we've seen them in previously. I'm not going to say like that absolute peak, but playing really, really well today. Definitely above maybe what you consider their norm. Secret would have seen it with a question mark for me. They're coming into this a little bit cold. They didn't get to play yesterday, for example. So there's work. That's a lie. They've played recently either way, but they've got work to do and show what they can achieve, I think, throughout this map and going into the future ones. I said it might take them a map or so to warm into it. That one map could be what decides the series if you're not too careful. You've seen flickers, I'd say, in that first half, especially from Mowgli. I'm really pleased to see playing well. Because, as I remarked earlier on, he's also had a few poor games, I think, throughout the back end of this stage and throughout playoffs. Hasn't been his day on a lot of those days. He's doing well so far, but you've got no excuses now to let this slip. We've got to see a strong start to the defensive side. Otherwise, I think Falcons run away with this and take it. And then going into that second map, you just don't know. Falcons come in heavily prepared and able to deal with Labs.
Yeah, you know, like you look towards it, and it has been Secret's pick there. But we've said it countless times now. You know, Falcons are a team that can play anywhere. They're a problem. If we look at their record, you know, looking towards Labs, we're not making any assumptions about what's going to happen on Clubhouse here, but looking towards Labs, they've got a 2-0 record over the last 6 months. Like, they're capable of playing there. It is definitely not, you know, it's an interesting pick from Secret. They're 0-1. You know, it's not a map that we see Secret picking a lot. It gets banned against them a lot, but also banned by them. So it's kind of like, you know, yeah, they are rolling the dice on having, you know, you've maybe hidden it, but you've also then got to deliver on it when you don't normally. So yeah, a lot rides on this, and I think at the minute Falcons have certainly secured themselves a good advantage, but how will they do on the attack? Both teams now moving. You know, I've said it for Secret, 50% win rate or just above when it comes to defending on Clubhouse, but in terms of Falcons on the attack, it ain't much better, 56%. But the difference is that's enough for Falcons based on the foundation they've given themselves.
Clearing the way.
Winding up with red ping spams there, like, hello, I definitely see you. Hello, hello. Fine, the drone is gone, but at least lets them know. We know exactly where you are, and if you hang here for too long, you're in trouble. Just heard them from above, and yeah, sure enough, it's Mowgli upstairs, shooting off those X-Kairos. That's now a new problem for Falcons to have to work through, Tim. After the round's gone, they've got to try and get rid of him before he just does exactly the same thing upstairs again.
I like this from Mowgli. He's kind of preempting their aggression here. Having shot that off above, he knows that they're going to come to clear him out of logistics. So he's now put himself into a position to just wait for what he's hoping is going to be an easy kill when somebody looks to do exactly that. It may well be that he finds himself attacked from above because, as we can see, you know, maybe Falcons try to get in above, drop that logi hatch, come from the other side, but I'm not actually sure that they're going to do it. Mowgli's going to get himself an absolute freebie here. What are Falcons doing? They've never dealt with him up above, and they've been punished so heavily.
They've just been slow, Tim. I've said this a lot over the last couple of weeks. If a team on the defense sees you being slow and still figuring things out, that is the best time to just come and give you a massive punch to the face and disrupt anything you're trying to plan. I'm with you. Like, they knew that he was upstairs. They knew that he took those X-Kairos off the hatch. He had to be there somewhere and would come down at some point to investigate what's going on and see if he can get a kill or two. But they've just completely ignored him and paid the price as a result. Solid first round by Secret. Falcons can't be playing that slow against Secret. They are going to keep on punishing you if it carries on this way, but it's a good sign for Secret. They certainly aren't out of this yet, Tim, and they can defend as well as anyone else.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter what's happening on the clock, realistically. You know, in that situation, you cannot think, forget him. We're just going to go into bar and get the you know, this is exactly what's going to happen. So Team Secret, great round for them to win as round, you know, as well, round 7, coming in there at the half. Just set their stall out. They've got themselves a defensive win. You know, as I said, statistically, they'd maybe be looking at 3. They're going to need more than that this time. They need that 4-2 half, so they get themselves straight on the road, but they also just start to build that momentum in the second half that gives them, you know, an end to Falcons' sort of superiority on Clubhouse, and it gets them back into it. So good stuff from them. We're going to see them move now to gym and bedroom. I'm interested to see once again whether Falcons pay enough attention to exactly where Team Secret are playing. I'm watching the top red player particularly here and how they're dealt with.
Is Brady going to fall to your ire, I wonder, Tim, on the Maverick? Of course, they're not being the site itself.
No, I back him on the Maverick. I back him on the Maverick.
And he's done this a good few times, Tim. That wall's now soft. There we go. Opened up, ready for someone to come over there and just blow it wide open. Probably leak it back with one of those Rotero drones. Then we get ourselves moving in through the map. But it's again about this east side clear. There are a couple of players lurking out here they've got to worry about. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on more than anything else. Probably more towards Doom on the Clash. He'll waste a lot of time, but also has the ability to quite safely navigate himself out of there through construction and back in towards site. Hasn't got to worry about construction window, for example, because he's got a big shield in front of his face.
Rotero will open that up, and it's going to give the opportunity to move in, but as you say, the Clash is the big sticking point at the minute. You can send flashbangs over all you want. It ain't going to do you any good against the Clash unless you are in a position to be able to challenge them. So maybe just looking to clear out some of those with my gadgets to offer them the opportunity to send in others. It'd be only one you'd be looking at. There's no nades on side, so it would have to be Shaco with those fire arrows that was going to dislodge the shield. But for now, Doom is sitting pretty, and Falcons, Des, again, are slow.
Oh, this is my worry. I think the Secret's comp, they haven't got to worry about going aggressive. They can afford to sit back and play behind all the utility they've got. Okay. Like, we've spent half the round focusing on clearing out this part of the map, and Mowgli just runs to the window and is like, thank you very much. Sprays out the player on South Balcony, gets himself safely back in towards Cash, and with his team, like, this is a car crash round for Falcons. It is not looking good.
The problem is that it's the second car crash round in a row now. You know, I spoke about it last time. You can't just ignore the fact Mowgli was upstairs and then go wandering into bar. He's going to do you some damage, and he did. And it's happened again here. You know, you can't just ignore the fact that there are players on red stairs and in cash because they will wander into CCTV and they'll hurt you. And that's exactly what they've done. You know, they're just going in here kind of pre-firing common spots and hoping for the best. It feels like Falcons don't really know where anybody's position is, and it's just not going to work out like that. Secret cut them down, make short work of them, and Falcons, this looks like two different teams. First half to this half, it looks like two different teams.
They just so heavily invested, I think, in trying to clear out the extended hold towards Cash and CC, and then didn't actually commit to having it. The smoke came out, and a warden was like, okay, stepped across, there's no glass there to stop me. I'll run to this window and slap someone off the south balcony, no problem at all. all that, plus the amount of drones they committed towards it, the number of players they had stood around it, and still found themselves losing out the first couple of players in the round. You can't be making plays like that, boys. It's what sees the game just slip away from you. And sure enough, attack timeout comes on through, because this half has been a car crash so far.
Yeah, it's been really... it's not about losing 2 rounds. You know, often I say this, it's about the nature in which they've lost those 2 rounds, and that has not been good siege from Falcons. I'm sorry to say it. Like I said, you know, big mistake with ignoring Mowgli on top floor back in round 7. They got punished for it. He got 2 kills from that position. There were others that rained in from elsewhere. They just never took full control of the map. They thought they could bypass it, thought they could shortcut their way, you know, into sight. It didn't happen, and then it's Mowgli again. You know, effectively using Shaiko's cover of smoke against him. He's a warden. You know, how are Falcons not aware of that fact? You can't just put a smoke on a window and think you're safe to then pressure into sight. They must have known that there was a warden on the other side. Well, either they do or they don't, but you know, whichever way you look at it is a big problem, is my point. Either they do know and they've not thought about the fact and not, you know, played for it, and that's a big problem, or they didn't know, and that's as big a problem in itself. But look, I don't know what's going on with Falcons. That tactical timeout is going to have had to have been something special. We're going to have to see a big change from what we've seen in round 7 and 8 to what we see now in round 9 if they want to start taking some of these rounds, because Team Secret, by contrast, I said both of these teams have come into their, you know, quote-unquote statistically worst side on this map. Secret are better on the attack, Falcons are better on the defense, so it's a question now of who can deal with and improve on their weakness as the best and the quickest, and right now it's Team Secret.
It is. Got to turn it around. Let's see if that attack timeout delivers any kind of fortune for them. Start on the charge on forward. Still, Shaiko really looking to try and make this capital tower work as well. Seen it quite a few times across the half throughout the day, to be fair, as well. He's tried to make it stick. Spoke a lot about his drone-based play earlier on when he had the Deimos taken away from him. It's available to him, but Clubhouse not really the map for it overall. And it's usually now on Flores duty, getting things opened up during their way through various gadgetry, doorways, castle barricades in this case. Always a bit of an impediment. I remember back in the day when you wouldn't really see a whole lot of castle because we just see tons of sledge, whereas obviously sledge is very much out of the meta right now. Still ways of course you can get through these. Gone 6 has of course been introduced, but still enough that it slows teams down, and when they've been as slow as they have, same as we saw between G2 and Falcons earlier on, when a team is slow, just give them more things to figure out and more things to work through, and they'll end up beating themselves.
Mowgli's looking to get a little bit slippy again. He's going to get away with it. Absolute freebie. Will he get rid of... Yep, gets rid of Claymore as well. He needs to be careful. There is one in behind him. But he's got cover from bottom red, so he doesn't even need to worry about it. Look, you know, again, Mowgli just being afforded far too much freedom. Solotov in no man's land at the top of those blue stairs. No idea that he was going to be challenged by the Jaeger from below. Again, big problem. It's a top floor site, but you've got to keep your eyes everywhere because Secret will punish you if given the opportunity.
That's a small update for you, by the way, as we had something being played off stream at the same time as this was that 5th place game. Yeah, Genji versus Wolves. Genji have won the series 2-1, winning map 1 7-1 and map 3 7-2. So very dominant on the 2 maps they won. The middle map was 7-4. But congrats to Genji, I guess, who find themselves finishing in 5th place.
They get some SI points. There was definitely stuff to be played for in that one. Noah manages to pick up a double, and Falcons, it just goes from bad to worse. You know, this is now the 3rd round in a row where they've suffered at the hands of a lack of intel and a lack of preparation of where they're going to be attacked from, and now getting 2 of them sprayed down on garage door again. You know, it just can't be happening. One of them a Blackbeard. It's just, you know, it's wild. Shaiko manages to pick up Noah, clears out garage catwalk. That gives Falcons something to build on here. 2 versus 4, but Secret, they're just going to sit deeper into sight here and try and force him on in.
And there's also the castle barricades. They can't move through the window too easily without breaking it out, for example. You know, spraying towards this little rotation to try and get themselves vulnerable to be able to get and try and make a plan happen. But they know what's going on, Tim. There's a C4 in the back pocket of the mirror. Adrian's got rid of that, and from below there is someone. Secret have just got everything figured out here, and Shaiko might get himself a couple of kills, Tim. He won't get all 3, that much is for sure. Secret make it 3 rounds on the bounce here in the second half. Yeah,
they're looking super comfortable on the defense. They've gone for the full rotation. Church gym, CCTV. like I said, it's easy to pick up on mistakes, but the team on the other side always has to punish them. Otherwise, it doesn't look like a mistake. And that's been what Secret have done really well here. You know, they've tried their little moves. They've tried creating these little opportunities. It's been Mowgli every time. And he's done a great job at capitalising on them, sneaking down main stairs from being in logistics, getting himself here up blue stairs from being down in the basement. And he just, again, too easy for Noah to take down a Blackbeard on that door. You know, and it's something Secret have done really, really well is force these errors out of Falcons. Unfortunately, I don't know how forced they are because it's because of a lack of intel. It's a lack of, you know, due diligence being paid by Falcons essentially here. They keep walking into problems like Solotov, you know, not knowing that Mowgli's down in the basement. Falcons have to get better with their drone use. They have to get better at their map clearance. They have to get better at controlling the way this is playing out for them on attack. And right now, I just don't think that they've got time to do that. You know, they're on short order now. 2 more rounds and this is done. I'll be very interested to see whether they were aware of that second score post shell out in strip. I'm just going to say it now. Just store it in the back of your brain somewhere. And when Doom comes through and gets a triple kill in bar, just remember that I mentioned it in the prep phase and wonder why Falcons haven't looked at it.
I think they're going to go pretty fast this round. I'm looking at uses, for example, and I'm just thinking, okay, there's a blitz on side. They really want to push something aggressive here. Whether it's a roamer, whether it's in towards site, I'm not wholly sure. But looking at where everybody is in the bottom right corner of your screen now, seeing where all the secret players are stashed up, to me, I'd just like to see them honestly just go and smash site to pieces. It feels like the play. Give it a go. Like, what, everything else you've tried has fallen apart so far. Why not try a bit of a rush here and see what works out for you?
Looking for that entry, see how it's gone so far. 3 rounds in a row it's been Mowgli, so Secret coming out well on top overall. 5-4 when we look at the entire map, but it's about that consistency and that momentum that they're carrying at the minute. Let's not forget, this is the map choice of Falcons. We have spoken about the stats of Secret on Nighthaven Labs, but we feel that it's something that they've saved for a moment such as this, and we'll be confident in going there. Falcons just take their foot off the gas a little bit, and as you said, it was a very quick start to the round. 4th entry in a row going to Secret though. Noah managing to pick up Leakafak, and that's the Grim. Such a big loss of utility.
Not ideal, and we know how pivotal that is to Falcons. One of their most played operators. You know, I speak about Dockerby a lot. Guess what? Grim's also up there as well. Mowgli's one who's come across him. It's not quite going to be Doom, unfortunately. He is now starting his move, though, inside the pool table, as you can see, which now means Falcons just do not have any control of this one. They're in a 2 versus 5. Battered from pillar to post here on the attacking side. Outclassed by Secret, it's fair to say. 2v1 here inside of Moto 2. Can they get anything? Yep, Usus gets 1. But there we go. Savage straight off towards the side. Gets that shot down. And Mowgli into a second. Secret now up to map point.
They just don't look like they'll be stopped at the minute. Don't Secret is the reality. No matter what Falcons try, like I said, I don't think, you know, Falcons Siege has been the best in this second half on the attack. Historically, it should be better than this. You know, they're at about a 55% win rate on attack, so they should be picking some rounds up at least. But, you know, as it stands, that's an absolute minimum of overtime now for Team Secret. And they're going to be kicking on from there and looking for that 5th and final defensive round. And honestly, at the minute, I don't see Falcons stopping them. Let's try and look at the positive. You know, what the Falcons need to do differently here. If we look at the last time they attacked Gym and Bedroom, they were not efficient or successful whatsoever in clearing out cache and CCTV, top red stairs. They just didn't deal with it. Shaiko tried to play on the windows by just smoking off CCTV window, but Mowgli was there on a warden, as he is again. It's going to be the same setup. Falcons have to learn from this. So what do I want to see? Pressure from bottom red stairs, pressure from the breach, clear Shaiko off catwalk if that's where he's playing. Sorry, it's not going to be Shaiko on catwalk. You know, clear out catwalk if there is somebody playing out there, which I don't think there is at the minute. Mowgli's garage storage, but he's not going to be. Doom who's down there as well. Yeah, they're not going to be playing on Catwalk. They're going to dip back to red stairs. So take Catwalk quickly, send somebody bottom red stairs, get the breach open, get yourself into CCTV, and put Doom in an uncomfortable position. Force Mowgli into a difficult spot. But need to be careful because Mowgli's not come back upstairs and he's still... Oh, he's just... I was going to say, he's just come back up now. He was playing down in lines, but that's fine now. Secret are good, you know, Falcons are good here. Get themselves into those positions, clear them out of cash, clear them out of red stairs, force them back to site.
Let's not forget how hard that was last time is my main worry, Tim. They took half the round and still didn't have the control they needed. At least this time around, there's someone in Catwalk to contest on towards Mowgli a little bit better if he does want to step across and try and play the window again. But if Mowgli gets this kill on towards Solotov, we're having that same conversation again where there's no one really to be able to stop him. You know, Candelas don't really help you here because it's a Warden. This doesn't look too easy. You got the Clash, you got the Warden. They're ready to lock in here. There we go. Oh, I thought it might be a preview, but no, just about whiffs it. C4 up and over. Man's already stepped away, so it's not the end of the world. That really could have been a dead Shiko there. Mowgli cursed himself for not getting that freebie. Yeah,
real opportunity for Mowgli there. We see Leaker back underneath. This is what Falcons needed. This is the difference maker for me, I think. Getting that verticality. Mowgli's now been forced back. But they still haven't dealt with Doom. You deal with one problem and you just find yourself fighting against another. Mowgli's actually moved himself back in. This was why I wanted the pressure from bottom red stairs. It puts that Clash in a difficult spot. Leakerback gets the kill, but look at the time, Des. We're a minute and 50 in. They still don't have control. And Mowgli is still running all over them, Des!
Oh my word, almost made it a fourth as well, but Leakyfack at least gets one back. But Tim, it's happened again. They've invested 2 minutes in trying to clear out this extended hold, and Mowgli has folded him up like a deck chair and thrown him in the shed for winter. Wonderful stuff, making it look too easy. Leakyfack in a 1v3. There's only one way this map goes, Tim, and you can thank Mowgli for it. 19-9, he's going to find himself finishing on. Wonderful result, and I don't think the IHL Falcons will be able to save this one.
I would like to know if and where the air jabs had been positioned. That would be one of my questions, considering that they've got a Nomad on side and Mowgli's just run out of a door and punished them. Comes around the corner. That's going to be the final kill. Adrian picks it up and Secret looked electric. 5 rounds in a row in the second half. Not a single successful attack for Falcons on Clubhouse. It looked like they just lost their heads there at the change, Des. For some things than others, and I think this might have been on the lower end of the prepared scale. So look, let's see what we get in the bans. Secret come into this real hot out of the back end of Clubhouse. 5 rounds in a row. I'm interested to see whether that continues at the beginning of this. It was also 5 entry kills in a row at the end there. If those are stats that Secret can continue piling on top of, then Falcons are going to be on the back foot right from the off. They have got to choose the side, so they take the defense to start with, and the bans that come through will be Hibana and Thermite from Falcons. So breaching already going to be an issue for Secret, who take away Kaid and Mirror.
Really interesting pair of bans as well, where typically you see like double hard breach like at range, or you see double hard breach against the wall like a Thermite and a Maverick, for example. Very typically more the Rangers being taken away, whereas here now you'll see got the Ace on the side and we have Maverick. I mean, the last time, just to kind of touch it, that these two teams played this map was actually against each other back in stage 1, Tim. It was an 8-7 banger of a game, ridiculously close. Mowgli dropped a 20 bomb as well. Secret just couldn't quite get it over the line in round 15, despite getting the entry in it, and it was Falcons who were going to take the win. So maybe some level of expectation of what they're going to see from each other. But I also want to see if we're going to see a little bit of Solus, for example, coming out of Leakyfack on this map as we get into different sites. Perfect map for it, absolutely massive. Good way to take away some of that intel game away from Secret and slow them down a little bit. Won't start on it in this round up here on the top floor. Not really too much hunting to do, I guess. It's pretty direct to sight for the most part on this top floor. But let's see what Secret brings to the party with the bans that have taken away those 2 hard breaches from them. Shock Horror, it's Savage on a shield.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Solus, I think storage is a great site to bring Solus for. I think we'll probably see it if Falcons find themselves making it to the 3rd choice site. Maybe a little bit of basement, but it might be more difficult to get the value there, although you will have a good idea of everything going on above you, so I could see how that might work. We will keep an eye on that, see whether Leak Effect does bring that along or not. Falcons just need a good start here as the top and bottom of it. They've got to slow Secret Secret down. The problem I've got, the concern I've got if I'm a Falcons fan, is look at this aggression coming in straight away. The Glass just getting straight round there and having a peek directly on in from Catwalk door. Savage on the shield, manages to pick up Leaker back. 5 versus 4 already, and the bad streak continues. Shaiko does get one, uses the other though. June with an answer, 3 versus 3, and this is crazy in the first minute.
It is, but Falcons have rallied here, Tim, and shut down a lot of this aggression. They've finished off Doom as well with a great play smoke coming out from users. Looking like they can hold on. Adrian and Noah are the ones to try and resuscitate this round, get things going back again. We have got 100 seconds worth of siege still to play, though. It's crazy that it's all happened so soon, because now we've got a lot of time for Secret to figure out how they can save this. We really got to try and force a 2v1 somewhere, but if Falcons are sensible, they won't let that be the case, and they'll close this round out.
I'm also looking to see, of course, how Secret perform across here. It's, you know, not quite a perma ban, but very close to it for them. It's something that they ban out an awful lot of the time, and of course we will continue to ask questions about that map choice, and they're certainly being punished here in the first round. Shaiko managing to take down another 3v1. Adrian will find himself cut down on electrical door, and that wasn't a great start from Secret when I look at it and I think, right, you know, there's one of two things happening here with Secret picking labs. It's either and I really can't see it given that there's an additional 150 SI points on the line. You know, you could look at it and think, well, then maybe, you know, they've got Munich Major to think about as well in, you know, just over, what, about 3.5 weeks' time. So, you know, maybe not wanting to give too much more away on other maps. So, you know, let's play the perma ban. You know, we don't need to worry about it too much. But there's 150 SI points on the line. So, you know, I don't think you're going to take that gamble. I think you're going to want to make sure that you're getting them won. So that says to me that it's the other option, which is that Secret have been away in that, you know, 84 days since they last played this map, and they've been working on it, and they've been trying to broaden the map pool, and they're thinking, yeah, this is the time to roll it out. We're going to go and get them 150 SI points. We're coming in hot. But given the way that first round went, it doesn't really feel too much like that. They were very unconvincing. They didn't manage to really take any map control. They weren't hold of Catwalk for long. Falcons were able to consistently fight back into every area and take them down. And Secret just looks a little bit lost at sea there. They're going to be attacking this time onto the basement. They don't have the Solace to go up against. That answers the first of our questions. They do have the Buck and the Rams, so there's going to be a lot of vertical play. So Secret need to get confident control of this entire map.
Absolutely. We'll see, of course, if they can find that. Already starting out quite early here with a direct line in towards site. Noah's here on the Buck. Bang, bang, bang. Ball is opened up. No real big concern. Of course, C4s can fly, where a swing can also come. Shaiko asking questions. Adrian giving the answer. Already taking away one here. It's a good start for them. That means no more active tricking onto any walls anywhere. They get rid of those bandit electric charges. They are not coming back.
Drone racing across kitchen there. Not going to find any defenders in there, but there is one inside of storage. Got Breeder to deal with in there. It could be difficult for Breeder. He's got a shotgun, but he's got shields that could be running at him. And if he gets spotted out here, could be a reasonably easy process to deal with him. And that leaves only 3 left alive. Instead, for the time being, Secret are focusing out towards the EXO side of things. Just getting themselves access to the top of those stairs, opening the vending window, and pushing on down as we see. 1 minute 20 into the round, and again Secret just trying to play this really aggressively. Don't quite catch Leaker back, but do a lot of damage.
But he has given them an angle here as well. They can see through the wall itself to try and contest onto him. Expecting him to come in the hallway, though. He's managed to slip by them. They're just looking straight in towards side here, Mobley. They've got the cover they need. He can probably get a plant down. They've got cover from the main breach. As long as that player doesn't go down, this is looking pretty secure right now, Tim. They've got vertical. They've got main breach. A player inside of EXO. This is looking good. But there's one up close, and no! Solitov slipped the net, played up against the breach. No one had cover onto him. Has managed to upset the apple cart here. Now it's Falcons with a massive man advantage of 4 versus 1. Much better from them so far, Tim, in these first 2 rounds. They're up 2-0.
Yeah, Falcons looking pretty comfortable there. Again, you know, nothing really that Secret could do to dislodge them. It was kind of very route one, just get down exo stairs. I commented at the time, a minute 20 into the round, just get aggressive, try and find some kills inside of sight. You know, a little bit of a strange one. It feels that Secret aren't really doing the prep work that they need for these attacks. You know, if we look, and it's not a huge sample size, but if we look at previous performances on here from Team Secret, their attacking win rate has been terrible. They've only won 2 out of 8 attacking rounds on this map previously, and you know, it's looking like that's set to continue at the minute. But for both teams, defense is much the stronger side. It's much like we saw against Falcons and G2 earlier on. We saw you know, these sort of battle of who can attack the best on Chalet, and it's going to be the same here. It's whoever can win the most attacks is going to be the one to win this map, and right now it's not looking like
10
Secret.
seconds left before insertion.
It isn't, no. However, it is only 2 rounds, and what I will say is, looking at the last
5
time they
seconds
played, Secret started out with 2 attacking round wins and then lost the next 4 rounds in a row.
Attackers are
We've
moving
seen
out
this
to locate
crazy
a
back and
bomb
forth nature between teams all day long. Like, look at our previous map, right? Secret absolutely stonewalling on the second half. We thought Falcons were the ones that were running the show until we got on towards them being on the attack, and then it looked really lethargic and out of sorts. We could yet see the same again here. It will almost be an exact repeat of what we saw in our previous map, so I wouldn't count Secret out just yet, and you never know how Falcons might do on the attack. For me, that's where my concerns and my worries are, is how proficient will they be after how poorly they did on Club.
Gonna have the Maverick working immediately. We saw Breeday's attempts last time. We'll see how Adrian does this time. Just gonna continue working on this. There we go, nice and simple. We see that reinforcement dropping away. It will be opened up, and this is what we like to see at Tier 1 Maverick in. If you know that you're gonna be bringing that operator, you better make sure that you can get it done nice and clean. How about this little battle? Mowgli's going to take a ton of damage up there, non-returned, and Secret back to the drawing board.
I love that. Real aggression onto a player that's I'm not even inside the map yet. Surely I'm safe here, right? Right? Not really. They were sniffing for him. Half his HP gone. And again, Savage, we've got to see him do something else in the shield, really get themselves moving here. Again, he's one of the best shield players, one of the most aggressive that we've got in the world. Has got to put it to good use. Leaky Fat largely ready for him on the Warden, though. They've got traps to deal with him in the Ella and the Legion. Falcons have come prepared here because they knew what would happen letting this operator through.
Still got 3 up on top floor as well here, Falcons. Getting that entry kill. They don't need to move anybody. Leaky Fat hits Mowgli with a nitro. Falcons are absolutely all over everything at the minute. Looking at Leaky Fat's position down in storage, maybe not. He's not a million miles away. Breeder will pick up Noah. 5 versus 6, just falling apart now for Secret. Breeder drops back to side. They know that the damage is done. It doesn't matter that they lose Shaiko along the way, because the 4v1, they've got themselves, I was going to say back to side, but Solotov and Users, I tell you now, they are absolutely desperate to get back up them stairs and challenge from above.
See Savage taking a moment to pause there to more talk to his team, and he's still going on even now as well. It's not so much about playing and trying to close out the round, but course correcting for what has gone wrong here in round 3. Just feels like every single step they took, Falcons had an answer. They knew what was going on. They had the pre-play C4. Everything was just almost like they were always 2 or 3 steps ahead of anything that Secret could do. And just goes to show, Tim, for all we said after that end of round 2, when it looked really dominant to Falcons, flip a coin and things can transform quite drastically. Secret, it's not looking good so far. I expect attack timeout after this round. They'll try and get a bit of a course correct on the go, and hopefully we see a better second quarter, because it has been a shutout so far.
Yeah, it's not been pretty for Secret. Like you said, I think the tactical timeout probably does come in there. Look, it's not, you know, panic stations quite yet. We saw exactly this same start for them back on Clubhouse. Falcons went 3-0 up and, you know, took that complete rotation on defense. Secret only ended up with 4-2 half, and were able to then fight back in the second half of things. Maybe that's what they're looking for here, is that stronger defensive performance. But I'm just, you know, I continue to be surprised by the Nighthaven pick, given that they have come in here and been completely ineffective on the attack so far. There's the tactical timeout that we expected, but honestly, I just feel like, you know, this is too big a problem to stick a band-aid on.
It is. But again, I wouldn't be too panicked about it just yet. We saw how Falcons attacked on the previous map. This was the map pick coming out for Secret. They will have ideas on this one. Just a few things aren't going according to plan, and that's why you'll see the pause coming in now to get it course corrected. You're going to play those same 3 sites again, most likely. Have a good chance to right the wrongs. They had some good ideas, I thought, throughout the half, just couldn't quite convert. It was a classic again. You get 90% of the way there, but the last 10% is where you fall short, because that is when you get absolutely slammed. And the one that jumps to mind, and that was the attack on the downstairs. They had everything perfectly set up for a plant, but somehow Solotov managed to slip the net, get right up against the breach, under the nose of Adrian, I want to say it was, on the vertical. And I was just a bit like, guys, like, surely we have the cover on this guy. Like, surely there's protection for your planter. Mowgli would have been going absolutely bonkers, because he should have had cover. There were 3 players all sat around him, watching him, making sure he couldn't be shot. What happens? He gets shot. So sometimes it's those small little things that have cost them. Let's see how things go back up on that top floor again. We'll go through the same 3-site rotation here. Falcons will be the ones to change their tack a little bit here to keep Secret asking questions.
We've had a bans come through. Maverick has been taken away. We've seen, obviously, a lot of Maverick use consistently every round from Adrian so far, and it's been how they've dealt with that Kaid ban and, you know, the Hibana, the Thermite ban. It's just given them the opportunity to come along. And, you know, they don't need to worry about the Bandit, which they've now banned out anyway, but the Maverick was able to deal with that. That's not going to be the case here. They're only going to have mute jammers to play around, and most of the players they might come up against them, they're going to be able to clear them from underneath. So Secret need to make sure that they're doing that, and they're doing it quickly, but that they're not getting caught out, because Falcons are now in a position where they'll know that. They'll know that that's going to be one of the big methods of dealing with it, so they can always play with a little bit of a lurk underneath and try and catch out anybody like Doom who wants to go in on the book. As it is, quick progress straight away onto that RT breach, so this is good from Secret inside of 30 seconds. Seeing a little bit more hustle, but that's not the problem that they've really had so far. The problem that they've had so far is not getting in and not getting control, not taking those power positions away from Falcons. That's what they have to do.
We come back to what we heard again and speaking about in his segment that he did with the analysts, where they had a little chat about a couple of rounds, how things played out. You're looking at the lineup again from Falcons, and it feels like, okay, we can just waste time here. We've got Keybers for days, we've got Clash being played behind, and Lucy to slow you down. C4 so we can dance around, loads of information, and they look ready to play the Null game too with all these impacts they've got inside. They want to try and keep Noah at bay, essentially. Nice start on the entry to get rid of Free Day as well. That takes the C4 off the board, which could have been a massive stinger later into the round, same as it was in the prior. So a good start, but what can we now see them do with it?
Yeah, much better from Secret there. That's what they needed. They get a second as well. Morgan manages to walk in. Shaiko is going to be there for the trade. They do have reinforcements in pocket as well if they want to close up that pillar wall. At the minute, I think it's going to stay open just because of the sheer level of aggression that's being played towards there, and they've got the Clash that can double down and try and hold on to that position. Leak of Fact manages to take down Savage. 3 versus 3 now. Not a huge loss for Secret in terms of utility there. Should be fine, but you can't just keep peeking around corners like that. Leak of Fact's going to punish you, and all of a sudden Falcons, from a round where they were 3 versus 5, now are in the driving seat. 3 versus 2.
Look at this as well. Shotgun on the side and a long angle at the same time too. The ITA ready to blast around that corner. We've had so many players step up to this angle and just get absolutely beamed by Leak of Fact. And it feels like this one might yet play exactly the same way. No backstab attempt coming on through from either of the last 2 players, not too surprisingly, but that does mean they're held up at these bottlenecks, Tim. They're a little bit stuck here, and it looks like it could be yet another round for Falcons.
Secret, I think, just trying to play the time that they've got left to them, see if anybody gives them an opportunity, gives them a freebie, but it's not going to be the case because it feels like Falcons, you know, I have no idea what went wrong in the second half of Clubhouse. They just look like a different team, but they are now back on fighting form. They are here to win rounds, and they're doing so comfortably. They have somehow, in between those maps, really refocused themselves, locked back in, and they found themselves now 4-0 in the lead.
Yes. Okay, Secret. What can we say? Timeout hasn't saved you. That round arguably even messier than prior ones because they started out so strong, and I was like, cool, you got yourself in. We found ourselves the entry. Mowgli's finally on the board. And then they just keep on giving kills away to Leak of Fact especially, who was largely sat inside of the same spot inside the site. Didn't have to move his feet too much. Picked up 2 kills, and it completely killed all momentum that Secret had. And Adrian, you know, I don't want to call out one person particularly, but I'm going to have to here a little bit. You've just seen your teammate die in the same spot not 5 seconds prior. You step back around, not respected the player at long range. You've got the first kill already, and they paid the price for it off the back of it. It's a hard spot to be in, but a few too many silly mistakes there out of Secret, I thought, in terms of the gunfights they were trying to take. Let's see how we go down in the basement. They did pretty well last time around in getting walls opened up and having vertical control and looking to force players back with shields. Everything was done correctly, but they didn't get the result that they were looking for. Falcons again
Attackers
looking
are
to
moving
carry
out
on
to
here and
locate
step
a
up to
bomb and defuse
5-0.
And you wouldn't go against them at the minute. You wouldn't expect almost anything else to happen. Secret just kind of non-existent in this one so far. Maybe they're hoping for that defensive half to be, you know, where they can turn things around, but they need to make sure that they don't lose it before they get there. They're going to be so far behind, it's going to make it extremely difficult, no matter how well they play, to get back into it, because they're going to need at this point to be almost mistake-free. See that breaches have come on to those
shock drone.
bottom walls so far. That's quick progress. Again, speed is not something I can fault Secret for, in all honesty. You know, they've gone in there, they've been aggressive, they've moved confidently, they've tried to get the job done quickly, but I think the bigger problem that they're having is that they're not really doing the right job along the way.
No.
Reloading, cover me!
That's the battle. I mean, even here, he's trying to just get inside the building is proving a little bit of an issue. Again, nearly every single player on the side of Falcons is up here on this first floor, willing to wage war, to fight for map control and give nothing to Secret for free. It's a great way to play the game. Again, it can really disrupt teams and slow them down. You get up in their face and you give them issues early in the round. They can't get into the swing of things, and it's a really good way of breaking Secret down, as we've seen happen to them so many times so far. But you've got to have that experience and that discipline as a team to know when's enough, when you need to fall back, what the triggers are going to be. Don't overstay your welcome, or well, you pay for it in your life, and we all know how that tends to end up.
Half of the way through the round, yet to have any kind of real engagement. We saw the little challenge from Likafak onto the window, but Secret not wanting to, I think, overcommit themselves here. I think this is better than what we saw last time. Last time, a minute 10, minute 15, they were down Exo stairs, they were trying to pressure into site, they were losing lives, and it didn't work out for them. Did they know about Solotov, though? This is the big question. I don't think Secret are going to have a clue about this. It's such a big map. It's so difficult to hold it all down. I think Solotov's going to play a big part in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah. Nervous that we're getting towards this point now where time's not far off up and we're only just starting to getting the verticals opened up. Barely looked down at the sites itself so far. Call coming out from Doom here. No rescue coming in just yet. Mowgli again going to find himself going down. 19 and 9 the last map. It'll be 1 and 5 here in just a second. Shaiko collecting the entry in the round itself. 7 and 2. He steps up 2. Things are looking good. And just trying to stave off this pressure now that's starting to build up from the last few players that are still alive and on their feet on the side of Secret as we get into the last 30 seconds.
Solotov's making his move. He's gone into IT, takes out the flank drone. It might well tell Secret that there's somebody somewhere in the map, but all that's going to do, I think at this point, is incite panic. They've just got to ignore that now with 10 seconds left to go and go for it. Users manages to get one, but it's Solotov on the hatch that really breaks the back, takes down Noah Shako with an unfortunate team kill, but it's not going to matter. 2 seconds left to go. June can't get anything else. Falcons 5-0 and absolutely cruising on a different level right now.
Make it look a little bit easy, aren't they, really, Tim? Not the outcome I expected with the start of this one. I really thought we'd see, again, one of the best attacking teams in the world right now come out and do a little bit better on their map pick, but it has not quite been the case. At the most, they can hope for 1 round to give themselves a little bit of breathing room, but with Falcons playing like this, I don't see how they get anything, Tim. That loss streak for Secret going to extend to 0 and 4 at the rate this is going.
Well, at the minute, as I've said, the stats for Secret on Nighthaven are limited, but in the last 6 months, their attacking win rate now on Nighthaven Labs is... It was 2 wins out of 8 rounds. It's now 2 wins out of 13 rounds. Like,
yeah,
it ain't looking pretty. And it's, like I said, you know, we are, I'm certain, going to come back time and time again to the map choice. They are the ones that have picked this map to come and play. And it's just a little bit of a surprise to see them still on their attack so far out of their depth. You know, it's you would have expected to see an improvement on that. But if anything, it's got worse since the last time that we saw them play it. Defensive rate, much, much better. You know, we know that it's a map that defenders quite often will favour. So Secret can hope for maybe better things in the second half, but all they can hope for in the first is that it's not 6-0.
Just weird, isn't it, really? Like, just not all what we come to expect, but that's the way that it builds up sometimes. Let's see if they can get anything out of this final round. Certainly not hopeful. I mean, looking at the kills across the entire team, it's a pretty torrid affair. 8 kills across 5 rounds. Ugh. Not even 2 per round. That is how dominant it has been by the Falcon side. They've looked absolutely fantastic. One more round here and they get a 6-0. 6 bites at the cherry to close out map 2 and send us through to border to decide who gets those 300 SI points.
Arcade opened up. That's going to be about all for the time being. Mowgli on the shotgun vendetta combo. Can always be a good one for the Deimos. Just allows him to extend that vertical capability if he's going to be tracking underneath. And needs to be a little bit more careful about managing the engagements, of course. But for any time that a track is active, he's going to be on the vendetta anyway. Nade goes in, just trying to force a little bit of movement there, and does very well. Solotov forced by the track and the nade into the line of sight of Mowgli. Manages to get the kill. That leaves him with an advantage at least. Secret take the first and the second as Leakerpack is down, and it's all piling on now. Secret have figured it out, but it's too late for them really, Des. They're maybe going to get one round on the attack. They could have done with figuring this out a good few rounds ago.
A little bit of breathing room in the second half. Ain't going to hurt too much though, Tim. It just means they've got 2 lives which to survive when we get into the half. It looks like this should be theirs. However, there is 60 seconds to go. It is a 4 versus 2. We've seen them lose a 2-man advantage already, Tim. Surely not. This is your time to win a round, not to throw it away, boys. It's not looking great. At least a track on towards Shiko coming out. They know exactly where he is. And if they want, can choose not to engage. Adrian, what are we doing? Why are we stepping in for a fight on Shiko? They've got a track on, sure, but you're talking about Shiko, my man. No way they let it come down to this. A 2 versus 1, and Juma's got to recover this. This is a round that should never have been lost, but it's only gone that way. Shiko has deleted them. A 6-0, and very little breathing room for that Secret to now play with.
Well, I fell into Secret's trap, didn't I?
Absolute bait, Tim. Straight from the fish market.
For a second, I really thought that they'd sussed it out there on that last attack, that they'd maybe got something going, but no, they've proved me wrong. Falcons 6-0. It's surely a matter of time until they pick up an attack. Falcons' attacking win rate on Nighthaven isn't fantastic either. It's 35%. But that's, you know, they just need to get one. Secret, much better on the defense here, but I just can't see them holding Falcons at bay for an entirety. But you know what? We didn't expect them to go 5 rounds in a row on Clubhouse either, and they did. So they're going to try and get that done. I think we're already looking towards border as that decider. I think it's going to be a hell of a map, to be honest. Secret are trying to keep themselves active. I'm sure it's the least of their worries, but they're trying to keep active the longest current win streak in World Siege, which sits at 9. This could be their 10th win if they're able to secure it. But, you know, also fighting for that 150 additional SI points. Winner of this game gets 300, loser gets 150. And that's obviously going to be the foremost thought in Falcon's mind if they do take us to border.
You're saying if like it's not all but a guarantee, Tim. Granted, Falcons have yet to do well on the attack in this series. I won't say today because, of course, they did pretty well against G2 earlier on.
I'm just remembering how bad they looked on Clubhouse when the stats switched.
Surely we don't see a 6-6. It just can't happen, right? Right. I've seen 5-1s come back that way, you know. I think we all remember a very, very popular game on this exact map. It happened in Sao Paulo. It was a pretty fantastic way to close out an incredible series. Very, very emotional day. It was brilliant. I don't quite think this is going to be able to trump that one, Tim, and have a 6-0 comeback there. That feels like we're asking a little bit much. But we've spoken before on the desk as well about how some players are looking at Mowgli here. A demon on the defense, a little bit less so on the attacking side. Is this where he comes alive and turns that 2-6 into something quite spectacular? We'll find out.
Thelma Charge going to go onto the wall momentarily, I would have thought. Just waiting for a little bit of positioning to happen here, which is going to be Shiko moving around. Going to have Solotov getting straight on into the map as well. Just, there you go, just looking to clear out that corner of Catwalk, get the fire arrows up there and just get the shield moving, get users going forwards. That's the direction that they want that pressure applied onto the triple wall. Clears out the keeper barricade. This elbow position, if you've got an Azami on side, is so key. And the fact that Falcons have cleared that out quickly is really good.
Starting point. Chico is in on the hunt, hoping to find anything anyone tucked away anywhere. No one to offer themselves up just yet as we hit that halfway mark in the round. For the most part, this is a very different game plan already from Secret, where they've dug quite far back and they've largely given quite a bit of the map over towards the side of Falcons, somewhat invited them in here. They've got a couple of C4s to play behind, sure, but look at the difference in how Falcons played their defense. They were so aggressive in towards Secret all the time. Didn't really want to let them breathe at all, whereas here, it's been the exact opposite, and that could spell bad news.
Nerd is going to go in, just again clear. They've cleared these. Doesn't quite go deep enough. I was just going to say they've cleared these Azami positions out quite well, really, so far, the Falcons, but unable to do so on that one. It's going to enable Noah to continue playing in the back of side. Beautiful little peek around the corner from Savage. Will be punished, though, as Brede manages to catch him out with Nitro in hand. Takes him down for the trade, 4v4, but Falcons need to get moving. Only 30 seconds left.
Oh man, can it be done? Step across and get rid of a couple here. Zoom onto another. Not looking too bad for Secret. Used to keeping us close, but as we get towards these last 20 seconds, the clock becomes the sixth man for the defenders. Tim, step in as he might. I think he's actually got the down towards June there as well. Great pullback. Noah finding one more at the very least, but it's a 2 versus 1. Uses with a lot to do. Finishes off that kill, but he hasn't got the time here, I'm afraid, Tim. Try as he might, won't be able to finish off even the first one. It's Mowgli with 2 kills in the round, and do we see him waking up here on this defensive side?
Well, Secret get themselves the first. They can only play 1 round at a time at this point. There's no point them thinking further down the line. It's just got to be, yep, you know, round. We're not even playing a best of 3. It's not a best of 1. It's a best of 1 round every single time now, and they've just won round 7. They now look towards round 8. But they've got a lot more steps ahead of them. It was nice from Secret. They didn't, you know, I was a little bit concerned at how easily Falcons cleared them out of elbow and got control of Catwalk, but it's always going to be difficult to hold that position if you've got a Blackbeard and a Capitao coming up against you. So, you know, nothing too wrong with that. Noah dipped back into a nice position where it was difficult to reach him with the nades, couldn't clear him out, and Secret actually did a really good job of holding site itself. It was definitely better than we've seen them on the attack. And that's the important thing, really, because they've been kept so quiet on the attack. If you look across their numbers, you know, there's nobody above 4 kills at the minute, and that includes the last round there for Secret. It's been very, very quiet. So these players, they need to be getting into gunfights. They need to be winning them. They need to get those opportunities so that they can start hitting those shots. You know, when you're going up against Shaiko on 10, you got Brede, users 6 apiece. It's difficult when those are the players that have been winning out those gunfights. So good from Team Secret to dig their heels in, get themselves even a toehold, a little bit of ground, a little bit of something to work with, and now they build from there.
Yeah. Can they do 5 in a row though, Tim?
I'm not sure. I don't think they can.
I'm not really a betting man, but if I was asked to put a stake down, I'd probably say no, they can't. How often do we see these kind of comebacks? It's very, very rare. But we'll give him a chance, Tim. We'll give him a chance. A little bit of belief might go a long way. Now, at least, obviously, just starting out so early in the round. The same vertical angle that we saw the reverse challenge coming out from Falcons earlier on. Very happy to challenge back up and be aggressive. Secret trying to show the same respect back to the side, give them something to think about early into the round. But it's about making sure everything is cleared out. We've still got June hanging around upstairs, for example. A few players on this first floor looking to control parts of the map. Force Falcons to have to come and fight and take it away from them. But that's a key entry. No other one going down. Falcons into a man advantage, Tim. Looking good, given there's still 2 minutes to play.
Yeah, it's actually one of the areas Secret have performed best on Labs so far, has been the entry. They currently, before that one, were 5-2. It now sits 5-3, still in Secret's favour. The problem they've had is that they haven't been able to close the rounds out. A lot of them, you know, 4 out of the 5 have been overturned by Falcons despite losing that opener. But this time, Falcons get the opener and they double down on it, and it just goes like a boulder rolling downhill. It's picking up momentum, and it's only got 1 target in its sights, and that is to roll over Team Secret. Flawless round. Solotov with the final kill. Falcons closes out on Nighthaven Labs in rapid fashion.
So far tonight really, really well, but I don't think Secret are going to take that one line down. They'll show a good bit of aggression themselves as well. To kick things off though, they start on the attack. Let's get into our operator bans.
Going to have the Monty and Asami. No major surprises there. Are we going to have a double down from Falcons on those shields? Is it going to be another one? No, it is not. Oh, sorry. Yes, it is. I saw Blitz and my brain read Bandit. We're going to have Monty.
I say those names wrong all the time. You just said it. That's different. I just say it wrong all the time. It kills me.
Monty and Blitz will be the double shield band coming in from Falcons. They've been punished by Secret with shields before, so they're not going to be wanting to experience that again. Azami and Mute, interestingly, going to be the band. So I would expect, I was just going to say a bit of Deimos play, a bit of Dorkaby play, a bit of those operators, that Mute can really sort of take away the powers of, and that's exactly what we look like we're going to be seeing in round one.
Absolutely. All right. I mean, the mirror being up definitely makes things quite spicy. Look forward to play between that and the castle and make Border a little bit of a fortress. It's one of those maps that's quite hard to do it on, to be honest with you, as well. Yeah, since that change came in a good while ago now, where you can put down those castle barricades inside of that red corridor, it opens up some angles for defenders to be able to play. And from what I can see here, we have got one place down to make this 90 hallway a little more defendable for the defenders to play around itself. And here, by the looks of it, even reinforcing off a little bit of office at the same time. The Bravo on the other side for Mogi, though, Tim. You know exactly what he's heading for in this round. Give me them evil eyes, baby. Number one being taken away already, and then he loses the drone. Did he get it? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he got it. It was a very close one. We're going to see the impact nade come out and just take away the camera. But
POV,
to be honest,
you are Pikachu, and Ash is just trying to poke a ball at you.
It's more what they're trying to achieve anyway. Yeah, it's great if you can use that bubble for yourself, but it's more about getting rid of it, because now they can open that mirror window, because that's what that Maestro was there to protect. It was to protect against the range breach coming in and opening up that window. So that's now going to be possible. Rotero drone is going in and just removing those castles. Secret have done a really good job here of removing utility quickly. 45 seconds gone, and there's a lot of safety that Falcons were kind of sitting behind that they're no longer going to be sitting behind. They now just need this mirror window dealt with, and they are pretty much laughing.
They've got a player at top of East as well who can see down, of course, straight towards that mirror window and put a bit of pressure onto it, exactly where we can see the Blackbeard now. If they get it taken out, then it opens up the rest of his team. Just don't get headshot. No! As I said, it happened to him. I was just like, mate, you are asking to get your ass kicked by doing that. And sure enough, Savage's skull ripped clean off his shoulders by Shaiko, who starts out the round for us. Again, Falcons, I said it earlier, Tim. I think we were going to see Falcons be quite aggressive on the defense, as they have been throughout the day so far. And that is continuing here. Wanted to give almost nothing over to Secret.
At least he got the mirror window, I guess. I guess, right.
Good job. Another angle for Shaiko to shoot through. Brilliant.
Yeah. Brede manages to find one with the Nitro. Mowgli, again, just, I'm not going to say carrying his team forward, but certainly has been leading in terms of kills so far. Has been extremely influential today. Continues to be so, managing to get one, but is there for a trade again. Shaiko taken out. It has definitely been the Mowgli show. He just needs one or two others to step up alongside him. And it's not going to be the case in round one. Falcons lock it down, as we would expect. Not the end of the world, but the problem there is that's now, what, 8 out of the last 9 rounds of Siege have gone to Falcons.
Yeah. A bit of a hot streak, aren't they? Whereas on the other side, yeah, that overall wasn't actually a bad round for either side, I thought. Like, cool, Falcons put up a really cool defense. They tried to make Secret work for it, and fair enough to Secret, they chewed through that utility very, very quickly. If not for Savage getting slapped down on the Blackbeard at range by Shaiko, we could be having a very, very different conversation right now. But again, you're just asking for it. You're taking 3 little individual tap fires, hoping to catch the mirror window. You are begging to be swung onto, which is exactly what happens. But again, even beyond that, I thought Secret's attempt at attacking was good. Falcons were just a little bit too prepared from them. So really good first round from both sides, to be fair.
Shaiko on the Vigil.
That's, ooh, wow. I haven't seen a Vigil play by this team for a long time.
Oh, nor have I. If you're looking for...
Back in the LMs days?
I was going to say, exactly the same as what I was going to say.
How do they build that synergy?
Psychic link confirmed once again, Des. I was going to say, you've got to go all the way back to LMs, really, to be finding regular Vigil play on the side of this roster. But Shaiko is going to be bringing... I tell you what, if anybody can hit shots with the SMG-12, it's going to be Shaiko anyway, so it's not really much of an issue. He doesn't have the Bosch G either. So,
he's not a Bosch G enjoyer. enjoyer.
No, not a Boss G enjoyer. There you go. That should tell you everything you need to know about the Boss G in its current state. So Shaiko on the vigil. Keep an eye on him. He's there mostly to waste time. Everybody's upstairs apart from Shaiko, as well is the interesting point there. They are going to be defending downstairs, but Falcons just really wanting to put all their eggs in the upstairs basket, if you will, and to use those verticals. They've got shotguns on hand to be able to open them up where they need, and it's going to be down to Shaiko. He's in customs. He's there to prevent a push coming through from detention, and being vigil is kind of, I think, just looking to catch anybody out who tries, but also to make them think twice about rushing into CCTV, because those spikes will be seen if they're drawn into CCTV as well.
I was going to say, when we saw the setup coming through from Solotov, I saw this like 3 layers coming out in essence to try and keep everything locked up nice and tight here. They managed to get rid of one with the impact at the bottom, but won't be able to protect the 4th one coming on through, and finally getting rid of that 3rd and final barricade. So now we've got the same again, that nice good angle down that 90 hallway. Falcons, I think, putting that up to waste a lot of time here, chew through those drones, because now if there is any utility inside the site itself, bulletproof cams, shields if they were on side, although they aren't here, or things like barbed wire, then you haven't really got any of those drones left to clear them out. So I like how they're forcing Secret to have to burn a lot of utility and time just to open up standard angles on this map.
The Deimos track doesn't really buy Doom anything there. He finds out that Solotov's playing behind the mirror window on the west breach, but, you know, we probably could have discerned that anyway. Well, my magnets here will just protect the leaker back for pressure from archives. I like what Falcons have got going here. They really dug in, but it's going to be Doom to find the first one. Takes down Solotov, so maybe it did discern them a little bit more than I might have thought. Takes down the castle, but Usus is there for an answer onto Mowgli. And that leaves us in a 4v4, 50 seconds left to go, and it's a little bit too easy for Leak. In fact, the trade is there from Noah, but again, this war of attrition suits Falcons down to the ground.
Shaiko needs to get a wiggle on here. I think he's coming up main stairs as well in a second, but he needs to be joining his team here, as they've largely given away this control. Thought he might come and try and back them up a little bit, but I think otherwise now is just hanging back that little bit further. Interesting not to see a Vigil being the one trying to play aggressive around the map, but instead playing a little more passively. Instead saying, you know what, have that top floor, there's 20 seconds left. You drop through this hatch, you're dead. And so they're ready here for what Secret are about to throw at them yet again, Tim. That clock becomes the 6th man for the defenders. Maybe not quite like that. Definitely not like that, Tim. Triple for Noah. That's a good way to see it falling on away from you. What can Shaiko do here? Not an awful lot, it turns out. Secret, Noah especially, grabbing that one. Well done.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the play was from Falcons at the end of that round there. Absolutely beautiful cover from Noah. You know, it just goes to show why being on the flank watch is such an important job. He's completely shut that one down. Double kill for him, and it closes out the round for Secret. Good stuff from them. It was a nice attack. They went in, they took top floor control, they dismantled what Falcons were trying to do. It was good from them. Like I said, Falcons' attempt with Shaiko, I think, more was about preventing kind of, not necessarily a rush, but just trying to deal with that horizontal push, kind of making sure there was no pressure coming from detention, from customs, from supply, from all that sort of area. And it's kind of like, just pop him in there. He can keep himself off the radar. He can keep himself off the drones. They might think he's in CCTV. They might think he's downstairs. And, you know, to a degree, I guess maybe it did its job. Nobody came in through there, but it also meant that, you know, his position through most of the round was wasted. So Secret had the advantage then in terms of numbers up on the top floor, able to get the job done. So good round from them, 1-1, and honestly, it's exactly the start that I expected. We've seen, you know, a really one-sided affair in many ways throughout this match. You know, I know that it was a close game to begin with on Clubhouse, 7-4, but it was still spells of teams winning 4 and 5 rounds at a time, and then coming back into it. So we haven't really seen this back and forth play between these two so far, and it's nice to get some of it on board.
It is, yeah. Nice to see it not being lopsided one side, towards one side, as you say, is what we've seen across the former 2 maps. But let's see how things build up. We've got Solotov here. I tell Leakerbat's going to be heartbroken about this. Not getting to play on the Soulless. Instead, it's Solotov on those duties. And we saw, what, 8 of 12 rounds, I think we said, back on our first map of the series. I think we see quite a bit of it here on Border, but obviously, you try to play so aggressively out around the map. It's a great opportunity to chew through the information, slow down the attackers. Really on Border, anything you can do to impede the attackers and slow them down is generally a win, because as many teams will say, you hate maps like Border because it is so gunfight heavy. It's a very boxy map. You can do a lot of work without even stepping foot inside the building itself. And so I think the Solotov here on the Soulless really is looking to slow things down just a little bit more to help his team out.
Sensor on. Searching for electronics.
Gonna just be continuing to hold CCTV. It's Breedy elsewhere who manages to pick up Doom. That's the Deimos. Big loss again. I often talk about the power of that gadget, and it's now something the Falcons don't need to worry about, especially with that mute ban. It really suggests, as I said at the beginning, that Team Secret are going to be leaning into the Deimos, into the Dokube, trying to use those gadgets, and having it taken away is not a help when one of your bans has gone to support it. Savage does manage to find something at least, taking down Solotov and the Solus, so that is one gone, but it's not looking good for Secret as Leakerfact manages to pick up Adrian. That's the twitch off the board. Bottom of main stairs, Mowgli does find Leakerfact on the rotation, brings us back to a 3v2, and Mowgli's able to just dip down underneath and start looking to apply a little bit of horizontal pressure through Workshop.
Trying to turn into a very, very deadly set of stairs there for the side of Falcons. Anytime they've tried to challenge up, they've just been carved apart. No, Mowgli doesn't really matter. Not quite the same though when he's trying to shoot through a soft wall. Picked off by users on the other side of it, and now it's a Noah left in a 1v3. We know how that ends, Tim. It's going to be a Falcons win. They go up 2-1.
Yeah, the Secret seemed to sort of give up on that top floor clearance. Mowgli was up there. It was, you know, he ran up there and he was just about sort of challenging towards Armory or towards kind of underneath default cam on elbow, but it never really happened, and he went back downstairs and into Workshop, and then Adrian joined him down there as well, and they've just seen why you can't do that. Users is up there in Fountain, just moves across to the Archives hatch, gets himself a cheap kill onto Mowgli, no problem, job done. And so yeah, Secret, you've got to commit to it really. I think time was probably the factor. It forced them away. They couldn't just keep trying to play through those mirror windows, and that's why we've seen the mirror ban come out, because it's just been burning so much time against them. I think that's a good shout from Team Secret. Maybe it'll buy them a couple of rounds. It'll certainly buy them a little bit more time in this second half, and Falcons by contrast take away the Deimos. Not having the mute, not being able to stop those tracks, they've suffered to it a little bit so far, and they decide they don't want any more of that action.
He's very, very reasonable to not want to deal with it much longer. And you look on the other side, the mirror, as we've seen used across the majority of those rounds. In fact, across all three of them, the first two especially, saw it used very aggressively around 90. That will take away at least some of the sting that the attackers had to deal with there. Secret happy to take it off the board. Falcon's going to have to adapt that a little bit now, including not bringing along a castle. So going back to more, dare I say, tried and tested, bread and butter style setups here. Of course, mainly the operators I'm looking across that line. That would be Shaiko on the Legion. Same sort of role, you know, one of his go-to operators as well. Loves playing on the Legion. A lot of traps to try and impede shields. But of course, with those Gumais no longer being invisible, well, they can still do a little bit of work if you are truly blind, but often teams can find them on drones and deal with them before they become a real issue.
Watching up there, Matt actually get his opportunity here. It was Leakerfact, I'm almost certain, that was just having a look down there. Didn't decide to peek, so didn't expose himself. And like ships passing in the night, neither will see each other there. And they will continue to hold their positions almost from top east. Noah nearly finds his man, but it's going to be Breeder to open things up with a kill onto Doom. Mowgli again, 4 and 3, and he just seems to continually step into the breach when Secret are pushed to take a backwards step. He's there to brace them against the wall and push them back into the fray.
Do they know? Surely they know. Yeah, they have the idea. Almost getting rid of Savage. Pokeball could be enough. And there we go. Savage captured, tied up tight, but it's instantly a trade. Adrian steps in. Noah off towards the south, collects one more onto Brede. A good step forward from Secret, and they've got a numbers advantage. The fair wacky utility to work with here, Tim, and a bucket load of time.
Mowgli again, just going to hold that angle. He's had quite a lot of joy on both sides of the coin, really. Holding the pixels, we've seen him hit a couple of nice shots, but then taking on those swings and getting aggressive has also paid off for him at times. Solotov is going to take out the drone, 2v3. Him and users both just locked back inside a site, waiting for the fights to come. But the problem that they've got is they're trying to burn out the round. There's 1 minute 10 left on the clock. There is an awful lot of time for the attackers to use here. Secret can just kind of cajole them, just push them around and wait for those opportunities to arise. But how about that? Solotov, it's a beauty of a double but. Has Mowgli got an answer? If anybody can, surely it's him, Des.
Oh, no, not quite. Solotov, a massive 3K to close the round. And that's them up 3-1. Just in a spot where it looked for a second like, oh, great. Secret in control here, got a 3 versus 2, got 100 seconds to work with, loads of utility. And then Solotov pulls out one of those moments, Tim, just one of those magic moments that we spoke about a lot for G2 yesterday. The hero plays, as we call them, when a player steps up big when you need him most. You know, strategy can be on point, but sometimes you just need players to pop off and do something a little bit crazy. And this couple of kills out of Solotov was exactly it. Takes all the sting out of the attack and wins the 1v1. Beautiful stuff.
Like fired up as always. And a tactical timeout coming in from Team Secret as they hit that 3-1 deficit. Rather than round 3 this time, it's round 4. But Twister's going to have some input here and try to change the trajectory. I'm just looking at the stats for these two teams on border as well. We would expect, realistically, attackers generally. It's not, I wouldn't say it's like wildly attacker leaning, but we would expect them to do pretty well. It's once they get inside the building, that's the important point. If you can get yourself established and start building an attack from there, you'll usually do a little bit better. But it feels like it's been a little bit scrappy at times for Secret, trying to get established. They're losing people along the way. I'm not saying they're not getting in the map, but they're not always getting that confident control where they're going in, getting a kill, taking over a couple of rooms, getting back on the drones and starting building from there. It just seems to be that Falcons are taking the fight to them. So everywhere they go, it's like gunfight, 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 gunfight. And they're never like building that beachhead and building that attack on from there. But if we look at previous Falcons, only a 50% defensive win rate historically, 56% on attack. It's not a great map for them overall, despite the fact that they tend to go on and win it. You know, whereas we look at Team Secret's rate, 60% attacking win rate, 68% on defense. So Falcons are doing the right thing here. They're collecting rounds whilst they can until Secret get onto that stronger side for them, which is going to be the defense. So make no mistake, it's going to be a different looking second half, I think, and Falcons need to make hay while the sun shines.
Absolutely. Well, now is the golden time. You've had that attack timeout. It's the one that you get in the entire game. Try and get something going, because I can imagine they're feeling the fear of God a little bit here. Border being one of our most attacker-leaning maps, you need the majority of rounds really coming off the back of it. So far, they've collected a measly 1. At least here they're cooking some at them. I'm loving the look of the lineup they've got. They really want to hit. Falcons hard here. Smoke's being deployed. Guys inside the window, stepping inside the building. Will they get away with anything? Look to the one, but can't quite find it. If nothing else, actually, it's kills going the other way. 2 to Falcons so far. They've staved off most of the aggression. And I can only imagine Secret look on here. Like, what else do we need to do to get around over the line?
Yeah, certainly not finding the answers at the moment. They do still have a shield on side with Savage just trying to work his way across with the fuse. Also has 4 of those cluster charges, so can get those going in from above. But again, confident control. They need to get in there and they need to get these kills on the top floor. They've got 2 that they're up against. Find those kills, start using those gadgets, but again, Savage is just being chipped away at, and then he's going to be taken down with a headshot from Shaiko. Leaves now Doom in a 1v3. He's on the secondary because he's the class. He doesn't want to be roaming around with the sniper rifle. Beautiful shot on Shaiko. Absolutely slams him. 1v2. This becomes a little bit more doable. Plenty of time for him to work with.
They're falling back towards the site, though, which is the main worry for me. Now, with the rifle, can get some verticals going if you so sorely want. Of course, makes a hell of a lot of noise doing it, though, Tim. I can barely hear my ears. Like, they're ringing out now. They know exactly where he is, though, know what he's up to. So if the Falcons players are sensible, which of course they are, they shouldn't be giving him anything on the vertical here. Don't give him a 1 versus 1. You play for the crossfire. Same as you've seen them do all night long. And this one is yours for the taking. Doom just being so careful about his approach, though. Knows that he's got a golden chance here to clutch up big. Does he see his man? Yes, he does. Now forces out the 1v1, but he's got to win this one, Tim. Solotov's already won a 1 versus 1 in this game. Can he find another? Of course he can, Tim. They're up 4-1, and that solely is off the back of Solotov yet again.
You got to feel for Doom there. Does everything right in that situation. Gets himself back into it and almost turns it around, but just cannot get it done because he comes up against that 1v1 monster. Solotov, so far, as you say, second in this game, and he is just one of those players, one of those clutch players that's going to drag those rounds over the line for the team. Brilliant stuff from him, and that puts a serious lead on the side of Falcons at the minute. 4-1, like I said, Do not despair, Secret fans. There is a better second half coming from them when they get onto the defense.
Is there, Tim?
Yes.
Is there, Tim?
Yeah, there will be, mark my words, a better second half defensive performance from Secret. The question is, can Falcons get themselves enough nuts stored away for the winter, Des, so that they can get it over the line when the darkness sets in?
Sadly, Tim, winter has already come, and it looks like a Falcon. They are absolutely slamming Secret 4-on-1 on the defensive border, of all things. The reason why I don't think you're going to see a particularly strong half on them, again, is Falcons attacking on this map. It's definitely nothing to turn your nose up at. They might not be one of our one of our strongest attacking teams, but still very, very proficient on a map like Border. They're going to look even better. Secret in their 6th round are going to try and hit this one hard. Again, we've got the Sens on side, we've got the Ying, we've got the Dockerby, we've got another shield charging as well, Tim. They've got all the right tools, but like we saw last round, right tools doesn't always guarantee the desired outcome, and that's where I feel a bit nervous for them. Gotta see them do something special. Oh dear. Ooh, I was like, Solitaire, surely not.
Going to be Bathroom and Tellers that they're looking to hold on to. And we're going to have the Sense Gadget immediately wheeling out here. Look at this aggression coming in. Doom is going to pick up the first kill. Candela's go in. That's Solitov taken out. Big loss with that Solus gone. We've spoken about the Solus at length so far today with those recent changes that have just come in today. And he's been getting used to great effect, but will not be the case this time for Solus. 5 versus 4. I really thought there was going to be an attempt to just get in through the window and get the diffuser down there, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a ranked play, just kind of throw it all in and see what sticks. But Secret have dipped away from that, despite using a number of Candelas, and they're going to be punished as Likafat gets himself a piece. He's got a problem here. He's going to try to back him up with the Toxic Bait, but he can't, as Mowgli is there for the trade. East is now in control of Team Secret, and they can start working down towards this Teller's side.
Solitaire probably just thinking that he's had 2 clutches this game. It's someone else's turn in this round to hold out Falcons. Yet again, they find themselves in this numbers disadvantage. A lot of things coming their way. Flashes galore, frag grenades, another Dockerby call, light screens. There is a lot that the attackers have got to work with here, Tim. It's looking good for them to get this round over the line. I say that, but there's been 2 rounds this half, I'd say, where they should have been good to get around over the line. Then they got clutched up on by Solitov, but the plant is going down. No C4 to stop this one, Tim. It's looking good.
Yeah, I think this is likely a Secret round. Users is just trying to get himself onto the flank. It's going to have to be something special. Nade is there. He's flashed out.
2 of them.
Look at all the utility coming in, and he still manages to take down Mowgli, who was just hopping in the window for some reason, but he's got one in behind the bomb chassis. The problem is the challenges are going to come from elsewhere. Tries to force him out with the auto canister, but to be honest, the player can just sit in behind there anyway. And as he moves across to go for the kill, he's going to be taken down. Secret get the round 4-2. Honestly, I don't think that's the end of the world for Team Secret.
No, I was about to say just then, like, you're probably disappointed you've only got 2 rounds, but you'll take it. Especially given with how many of those rounds are quite dominant towards Falcons. You know, Solitov again winning out 2 1v1s. Those moments you look at and say, we could be looking at a 4-2 to Secret, and suddenly it feels like a successful attacking half. It has been close to the wire, but all that matters are those numbers at the top of your screen. 4-2 right now, with Falcons going on to the attacking side. Do we see another dismal attacking performance, or the Falcons show us what they can do? I think we're going to see more of the latter, but we'll find out once things get underway. A Warden ban coming out, Tim, generally is pretty indicative of what you can expect.
Yeah, not too much of a surprise there. Not wanting to suffer to the smokes, to the glass, to the Ying, to all the many problems that can stack up that Warden can deal with. We just see Likafat getting cornered here. You can see straight away the reaction from Secret was great there. You had Savage, Doom, Mowgli all working together, kind of push Likafat and make sure that that position was a no-win situation. And it was just it was all round a much better attack from Team Secret, able to get in, get that diffuser down, create space by getting those kills much better. And honestly, I think we're going to see a little bit of a different beast come out from them now that they've got themselves on the defense. I think the big question to me, at least, maybe I'll be proved wrong, but the big question to me is, can Secret get this done in regulation with a 5-1 or better, or are we going to be heading towards overtime?
I don't think we see OT personally. I think we're just seeing a little bit more like X factor coming out from the Falcons players tonight overall. And I just think we're probably going to find that they're a bit warm after the previous map. And after that very successful first half, I think they can probably see this one over the line and done. Nothing crazy or explosive here. No shield rushes, no Candela spam, none of that nonsense. Even with the Warden ban coming on through, me probably also leans in towards the fact that you'll see that come a little bit later on down the line. For now, much more of a kind of very standard Falcon style setup. You've got the Dockerby and the Deimos pairing coming on that we're used to seeing. Heartbreacher coming out there. The Sens really is the one thing you look at and might say, that isn't Super Falcon, sure, but it's more map specific here. It's why you're seeing it being wheeled out. See what they can get done with it.
Watching for the run out, just making sure that they don't get caught out. Almost trying to bait it by getting the player on rappel and see if anybody will take a nibble. They don't. Solotov takes down Mowgli, which is always a great start for Falcons, but Noah is there for a little one-tap return, picks up the head of Solotov, leaves us now 4 versus 4. Dockerby down is a big loss for Falcons, especially with those phone calls in pocket. Might not be the end of the world because we're not going to find this being a heavy roam kind of site. So Secret, you know, they're not going to be playing too far away where those Dockerby phone calls are maybe going to disrupt them, but still a big loss.
Key one worth noting, of course, if Falcons win this, they're the ones that are currently outside our top 10 teams in the global standings. A bunch of other teams sit above them right now. They're the ones that have got the most work to do compared to Secret and G2. They win this one, I think, without even getting any points at the major. You get at least 50 from turning up. But they'll get 300 points. That would basically guarantee that they will be at SI. They're basically almost guaranteed now, but it would most definitely lock them in 100%. So it still means quite a lot, I think, to Falcons to get this one over the line and see things done and not have to worry about what happens at Munich. We know how their curse at events over the last year has stung them more times than once. In fact, 3 times they've been in grand finals and not been able to quite get the job done. In goes 3-day nice and deep. He's trying to find a spot that is safe to plant in, Tim. Not quite able to get away with it either, as Doom is nice and close. It's not looking too pretty. Looks like this first round may well go the way of Secret.
Yeah, as expected, I think, really. Like I said, Secret are always going to have a big fight back in on border and continue to prove that. 4-2, Brede low health. Luke, in fact, trying to move up his stairs, just get something going. At this point, Team Secret are full and back to site, apart from the one left out in CCTV room, which is Noah. And don't think there's too much hope here. Secret are going to give them absolutely nothing. There you go, Brede taken down there, drops at his feet as well. That's unfortunate, but natural kill will be the final one to take out the last man. 3-4, we see ourselves on the scoreboard now, and Secret, the fight back begins.
Very interesting. Granted, first round, I'll wait until the second till I kind of form any major judgments, to be fair, but again, Secret have defended really well. They're largely held back, and that thing that I spoke about earlier on where Falcons have been more aggressive in pressing out around the map and trying to challenge all the time, that has remained true, where Secret have been a little bit more dug in. The way that we've seen them play, you know, back on Nighthaven is a great example of that. They do play a little bit more passively overall, I think, and that's not strictly a bad thing. As you've shown there, they can play a more turtle setup incredibly well. Got themselves a couple of kills, hunkered down, played forward from there. Different play styles aren't a bad thing, but it does give more opportunity, I'd say, towards Falcons to be able to exploit that. I really want to see him capitalize on the fact there's a Warden ban that's come on through here. Nothing in that first round lent in towards it. Now might be a good time to roll out a Ying and see what you can get done.
I'd like to see kind of, you know, more execute heavy play coming out of Falcons, creating a bit of space, putting the diffuser down, like you say, using that utility, but using it. I always talk about this selling. You know, what are you selling your utility for? You don't want to give it away for free. What do you get? You know, let's get it used. Let's get the Candelas in there and create a bit of space to put the diffuser down, not just put them in there to back people up a little bit and then don't follow it in, and you know, nothing really comes of it. Get in there, get aggressive behind it, take the space, take command of it, and get the diffuser down. We've only seen one plant so far on board. It came from Savage at the end of round 6, and you know, I'd like to see Falcons maybe just going down that road and, you know, thinking. We have a look through sort of previous rounds, no plants on Nighthaven Labs, only one on Clubhouse. It's been, you know, kind of really devoid of rounds being won in that way. So, you know, maybe it's a way to just sort of shift the paradigm a little bit.
Which is really funny because these are our 2 best planting teams in the league as well. Like, Secret plants in 1/3 of their attacks, which is balmy. Falcons in about 1 in every 4 or so. But as you say, we've barely seen any so far today. So to start here, always the focus is going to be on East Stairs, and that's exactly where Falcons have been prying on a little bit of pressure. Candela's being used very early on as well as a phone call, it's worth stressing. but no one's inside the map at this point. This is a lot being used by Falcons just to try and get a little bit of pressure into the map. I'm not quite sure this is the play, Tim.
No, I would agree with you. Leakafac's just going to hold his patience for a moment there. Sure, this is going to be a little jump out. Too easy. Mowgli manages to pick up Leakafac, who strayed away from that window. Solitov a moment before, though, did take out Savage. So that's going to be the mute gun and probably a nitro with him as well. Shaiko takes down June 4 versus 3 Falcons now. Need to get themselves inside of the map. Look across the bottom of your screen. Nobody's in the map. It's halfway through the round. They've got 2 kills and they haven't taken any ground at all.
Starting to make it happen now as another phone call's going to come on through here as well. Mowgli's on the mute jammer. Really should have known about that one, Tim, but they didn't hear the phone call, relied on that information far too heavily. They paid the price for it. Shaiko almost getting a shot off, but just not quite able to beat his adversary on this occasion. We're down to a 3v3. No utility left for the Ying to hit sight with here, Tim. This can't be too pretty, and Solitov, bit of a whiff. Does finally get away with the kill, though, into a 2 versus 2. Another one of those rounds, Tim, where it's anyone's to win.
Mowgli currently sat 10 and 7, really dominating things for Team Secret. Maybe just needs that little bit of backup, and Noah could be exactly that. Manages to find the kill onto users. Breeder is going to try to throw this down. I said I wanted plants. He threatens to give me one, but then comes off looking for the fights instead. Continually trying to play with that sound, but it's Mowgli who manages to pick up the final kill. Team Secret level things up 4-4. And all of a sudden, Des, as I suggested, it ain't looking too pretty for Secret right now. Sorry, for Falcons. It's looking fantastic for Secret.
Ain't it just? Yeah, it's another Mowgli thing again. Like, just...
Yeah.
We swap sides and he goes a little bit nuclear. It's crazy. I don't know what it is, but really kind of flips the switch when he changes sides at the best of times. That's now the... I want to say the 4th round in a row where we've seen a 3K or better from a player on Team Secret.
Yeah.
Really have woken up. They've now won 3 of those last 4 rounds. Have worn themselves into the game. And if I was Falcons, I start to feel a little bit worried here because, again, if not for Solitov winning those 2 clutch rounds, you'd be at match point now and down 6-2. That is actually the sign of, despite how dire the scoreline looked in the first half, how close Secret would be to winning this game already.
Solitov has had the opening kill in the last 2 rounds, but Falcons just haven't been able to convert it. So that's something for you to keep an eye on this round. The Falcons come away with that entry. If they do, are they able to then secure the round? Because so far, Team Secret have shown, despite playing with a man disadvantage at times, it has still been possible for them to get it done. We seem to have somewhat of a web being built by Noah on the Denari. Those trip connectors just being put around CCTV, try and keep him in position. We, of course, have had a little buff to them today. The main element of it, they have changed, so it comes back online immediately when line of sight is gained, rather than having that small delay that we saw. But the main change is that the damage has gone up to 20, so that just changes things up a little bit. Maybe their lethality as well.
Throwing it.
No, you've lost your barbed wire. For a draw.
You have to do a lot of work and stack a lot of them together to be able to get an insta-kill, but it's still a good deterrent. Of course, every point of HP does help, but at this point, Denari is gone. So all that chatter about him, it stands for nothing, Tim.
Yeah, I'm really... It's such a little thing, but...
You sounded so depressed.
I just don't know why you'd throw an impact nade at a drone. I don't know. You've lost your barbed wire on that window. I think, maybe at this point you think, oh, nobody's coming that way. I don't know. I don't know why you lose that utility for that reason.
I thought you were on about like feeling really, really sorry for the drone there, like it was defenseless.
No, I don't care about the drone. I just don't know why you throw an impact nade at it when it's sat in your barbed wire.
Don't worry, Tim. We'll bury the drone in the garden later tonight.
Well, it looks like Secret are going to be buried in this one. Breeder manages to get himself a double Doom and Savage taken down. Falcons just looking to get some momentum built on the attack. They haven't won one yet, and if they can just get anything going, Solitov picks up Adrian, and look at this, Demos tracked. Dockerby phone call. There was just nothing else going to happen there. Solitov gets that final kill onto Mowgli, closes it out. Team Secret, that's the first round that they have lost on defense yet. Puts us at 5-4. If things continue through 10, 11, and 12, as they have done through 7, 8, 9, it'll see us in overtime, Des. As if this one was ever going to end anywhere else.
Yeah.
I'm confident in saying it. I'm confident.
All right, we'll see.
I'll say the line now. I'll say it.
No, you don't need to say it, Tim. You can
I'll
wait 3
say it.
rounds.
I'll say it.
Tim, don't say the line. You can say half of it.
Which half?
I'll let you pick that one.
I'm trying to figure out what is half.
Sure, I mean, if you include
just
my
go
name at the end, then you'll have to slice
No,
it in half.
I'm not going to do that bit. I was going to do the beginning. We're going to round 10, Des. We've got a few more to play. We've got a few more to play before we end up heading towards those extra rounds. 5-4 Falcons. I think that was actually a really important round for Falcons to win. I think if Team Secret just, go 3 defensive rounds completely, get themselves into the lead as well, it's a big problem for Falcons there, whereas now they know they just need to snatch one more attack. Snatch one more attack and you get yourself at least that promise of overtime. It gets you something. And I think that's a big thing because Secret now are facing having to do 3 in a row to get this over the line. And it's a bit more of an ask, is that. So, yeah, tough one from Secret's position to get this done in regulation.
If I had an air klaxon, Tim, it'd be going off right now because look at this lineup from Falcons.
Gross.
Yeah, I'm already feeling sick about it. That is a lot of cheese. It stinks out here. Rush their way through, blind everyone out with 2 operators, phone calls going off, Leakerfax springing a batch in a window somewhere. All the while, you can't run away because Shoko's got a scan on you. Oh, sounds horrific in concept and in principle, but it depends, of course, if they can keep all players alive until they hit the point of execute. Tim, you said a couple of rounds ago you want to see Falcons go for an execute-focused composition. You've got it. Let's see what they can pull off up through the hatch.
Let's see if they can put the diffuser down again. Breeder managed it in the last round. Maybe that has, been the spark for them to say, look, we just need to play the execution game. Don't worry about taking the gunfights. Don't worry about taking the whole map over. Let's just get in there and put the diffuser down on the ground. Jesus currently is out by sandwich window, I think, with diffuser in hand. And he's going to be on the Ying. Leakerfax is going to pop up that hatch, but it's not looking pretty as June manages to find one. But somehow Leakerfax comes away with a kill. Can he find himself a second? Adrian is going to burn out Breedy, and it just feels like everything has stalled for Falcons here. Leakerfax is in deep trouble. He's running, but he's running into the arms of Adrian, who cuts him down, and that leaves us now 4v2, 3v2 after the trade comes in from Solotov, but this looks good for Secret.
Great shot from Moby as well, and yet User's left all alone here with 2 candelas in back pocket. And at least he has the diffuser and a smoke in back pocket. And give it a go, but there's definitely work to be done here. Going to round his way instead towards east, maybe. Keep himself busy on this side of the map. They know exactly what's going on. There should be no surprises here, really, for the defenders. Secret in a good spot, and sure enough, Savage is out there. A couple of shotgun pumps to the back is enough to get them back square, Tim. 5-5.
We're going to see at least a full 12 rounds, maybe a few additional ones at the end of this. We will see. But yeah, Secret, I think, very quickly back in the driving seat there. Honestly, I think it's going to come down to bathroom and tellers. I think we see ventilation workshop. Oh, we've got a tactical timeout coming in from Falcons. I think we see the same rotation, so we will see ventilation workshop coming in from Secret, although they do have the option of doing it the other way around because they lost bathroom and tellers. They could go back there now. I think I'd do that, I'd go back to bathroom tellers now, get the win there, and then you're ending or trying to end things on a site that you've already won in ventilation workshop. I think I'd take the gamble now and go to bathroom tellers if I'm Secret.
Falcons know that really they should be the ones that are in the advantageous position on this map. Instead, all things are square, and I'm with you, Tim. You've been halfway there already. You're now set towards being 3/4 of the way there.
I think I am.
You can. You can find a way to creatively use 3/4 of the line. Take the full one, of course, when we get all the way there. As it stands, it looks like there's only one way this game is going, Tim. And again, what a way to close out the final best of 3 of the stage and crown our stage champion. We've also got things like the regional finals to think about in December. So those announced earlier on, 6th and 7th of December in Malta. Wonderful place to be. I lived there for like 8 months. Fully recommend going if you're looking for somewhere a little bit warmer.
A little bit of summer sun. Winter sun, sorry.
The winter sun, but it'll still be nice over there. It's cool, it's cool. Not too expensive either. You have a great time in Malta. You'll enjoy it. Watch some good Siege. Go checking out the island. So if you are interested, head to the website, check out some tickets. I'm sure you'll have a great time.
10 seconds to insertion.
Let's see who's going to be having a great time out of this. 2 rounds for one of these teams to be able to grab a hold of this and take those extra 150 SI points. As a reminder, what's at stake here? This is, of course, the Stage 2 playoffs. Both teams, being in the grand final, have already qualified to the Munich Major. That is locked in. That's not going to change. But the big difference here is there's a little bit of money as well, extra for the winner, but also probably more of the focus is those SI points. Everybody wants to make sure they are qualifying to SI. I think at the minute I'm right in saying it may have changed since Falcons won earlier and guaranteed themselves 150 rather than 100, but Secret were the only ones in the top 10 out of these two teams when we look at the SI standings in terms of points. I don't think Falcons had made it into the top 10 at this point, but it may well have changed now. They've got the additional 100. They'll have crept up the table considerably, I would imagine, but do not be fooled. They will be looking for that full 300, and that is going to be the major prize awaiting one of these teams. So here goes the Doka Call, and here goes the entry. And Leaker find himself a kill. It's Ventilation Workshop that Secret have chosen, so they're going back to that start they've already won, just to maintain that pattern.
I like the approach here. Rather than dumping 3 of their 4 Candelas in, like, users just use the 1 and they use the Doka Call to at least get themselves somewhat in towards the building or clearing out certain rooms immediately in front of them. Leaker currently the only one actually inside the building, mind you, and they get a freebie onto Savage here. Gives himself away, barely even looking for a fight there, back the other way. Noah also dangerously low. The Falcons in a good spot to see this round over the line. They've got a lot of utility with which to do it, Tim. They've got to hit the site, and they're looking for it now. These smokes going to be a pivotal part of it. That Warden Ban coming on through, as we said, we want to see more pushed against that. This certainly is the way to do it, but the fire from the environmental going out, that's not going to help.
It looked like we were going to see an impact nade just being thrown randomly into the smoke there. Obviously, immediate concern. They're now aware of Doom's position in there in the corner. He's going to relocate himself slightly, but you just thought that the push was going to come through, and it didn't need to. Leaker back instead just wanders his way through, manages to get the kill. Surely time to start thinking about getting this diffuser down. Mowgli on the fight back, but they haven't dealt with the Soulless.
Yeah, the Soulless from above, like an angel of death, just waiting. About working his way down here, gets a freebie surely, yes, and saves his teammate's life. Almost hits the second. Forget about playing from above, Tim. Why do that when you can descend to the realm of mortals and get a couple of kills on the way through? But Solotov slays him down, a second one. He becomes the angel of death from the angel of death who, yeah, it all ends up the right way that it should. It's Falcons taking the round, Tim, moving up to match and series point. You got to win this next one, Secret.
I honestly didn't think that we would be in this position. I thought Secret were going to be the ones, I'll hold my hands up, I thought Secret were going to be the ones that would get themselves the opportunity to win it out in regulation, but it's not the case. Falcons have dug deep, they've fought back, and they are heading, I said historically, they've got a 50% attacking win rate on border. That would get them the 3 rounds that they need to win this in regulation. They've got 2. All they need to do is let history repeat itself. Just play to the stats, play to the numbers, and they will close this one out. I thought for a second they'd given it away there, where Prede got a little bit carried away, and I thought he sold himself pretty cheaply to Adrian, but ultimately they had the cover from above, and it was all easy stuff for Falcons. Team Secret are going to go back to the same site. It's Ventilation Workshop. It will be their last stand.
All right, well, it feels like Falcons have kind of figured out the puzzle here, discovered the magic formula with their lineups to really make Secret suffer, and as it stands, Secret have been unable to stop it. Maybe Mowgli going across the yellow will help with it and take a little bit of sting out of the tail of this Falcon side, but I don't quite think it's going to be enough for them, unfortunately, Tim. They've shown that they like to use a bunch of utility early on to position themselves well, maybe get the entry, and then save the rest for the execute itself. So Secret have to know there's like a 2-stage process that we've been following across the majority of these rounds. That has been the trend that we've seen building, and they need to be ready to adapt and deal with it.
IQ is just going to be scanning out, pinging those gadgets, of course being brought along. There's so much value there. You've got the Soulless. They can find each other, both now on a 20-meter range. So we'll be able to see when those gadgets are active, as I think you just caught a... Yeah, there you go. You caught a little peek of there. Just catching the drone in player. It was Users that was being picked up behind. But yeah, the IQ going to be able to pick up on those black eye cameras, on the trip connectors, on the Gashmot mines, on console is so much value can be found from Shaiko. Solotov manager to pick up Mowgli. That's a big start. He's been the talisman so far for Team Secret, but Adrian is there to step into the breach and find the kill onto users. 4v4. They know there's one half wall. They're going to have to clear this position. It's Adrian taken down.
Unlucky, I guess. Still got the numbers advantages, so it's the most important part. Really need a Solotov to get that kill onto half wall as well, but unfortunately, it hasn't become the case. Tim, I hope you're warming up them vocal cords for that line, because there is only one way that this round is going. Outside, there's something magical by Brede and Shaiko.
Yeah, it's almost certainly heading in that direction. 1 minute 20 left on the clock, so plenty of time, plenty of seconds for them to work with, but as you can see, that trip connector just across the window prevented any ingress directly into CCTV. Instead, it's going to be a look into break. Sees his man, cannot find the kill. Noah picks it up. And as you said, it's heading there, Des. We're going to overtime.
Woohoo! About 3 of the final series. That's the way it has to be, Tim. And again, it's been so back and forth between the two that you can't really put your finger on which way it should go. Like, it's been a defend-decided border. We've had those 4-2 halves. But it has felt, at least to me, I don't know about you, but at least to me, it feels like Falcons have offered a little bit more on the attack. They've had a stronger idea. It hasn't always worked out, but I think their execute-focused compositions have generally been pretty good. And that is where I worry a little bit for Secret as we step into this next part. I'm not quite sure who starts on the defense. I imagine Secret, given they chose to start an attack. In fact, no, they may even go attack again. Okay, I actually don't know. We're going to find out now. It is Secret on defense. Okay.
Here we go then, let's get into it. Round 13, a maximum of 3 more to decide who comes out top of the pops. Number 1 in the stage 2 of EML. This is the last matchup that we will see before Munich Major. We've almost got all of our teams decided around the world. I think there's still a couple of Brazilian teams just left to be confirmed. But beyond that, we know what the lineup is looking like, and both of these teams, I've said it so many times, winning is a habit. They want to take this grand final, they want to take the 300 SI points, and they want to take a win for themselves on the way into Munich. It would be the ideal start before they even get to the tournament. It's going to be Falcons on the attack. It's going to be Armory and Archives. We haven't seen a successful attack from Falcons on this site yet. Played twice, won twice by Secret.
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking about the 2 remaining LATAM teams to qualify. It's NIP versus Loss and Liquid versus W7M to decide who gets those final 2 spots. Still lots to enjoy on that front, but for now, we've got to see how this one concludes. 3 rounds of fun, or terror, depending on which side you tend to lean. Noah down to half HP, being quite cheeky here, trying to hope to find someone out on the balcony. Both teams, I think, have been really, really conscious that we've seen like Nomad's brought along an awful lot as well to help deal with potential runouts or aggression. Because both sides are now starting to expect and respect from each other that aggression is the name of the game on this map.
Oh, I think he just... No, I thought that Doom had seen the drone there, spotting him out, but I'm not sure he did. He was in his ADS. Could be a big problem because he won't necessarily know that the aggression is heading his way. Surely he sees it that time, goes across clear as day at his feet. So no excuses now for Doom getting picked up unexpectedly. Dokkaebi Cole does come in. Do Falcons push on behind this like we've seen them do so many times before? Yes, they do. It's going to be Doom picked up. Headshot from Leakerback. 5 versus 4. Advantage Falcons.
It's a small start, Tim. Still a lot more to work through yet as well. Only the 1 C4 remaining for which Secret can work with, mind you. So there's actually quite a lot of fighting for them to do. And when Leakerback's playing like this, Tim, enters double digits, a great shot onto Savage. Surely Falcons don't let a 5v3 slip away. There's one.
He's been dangerous and he continues to be so. Picks up Leakerback. That puts him on 14 kills for the day. Noah still alive. He's on 11. They've been the 2 top performers for Team Secret. Mowgli takes a ton of damage. Doesn't really dish out much in return. 4 versus 3. 45 seconds. It's not looking good for Team Secret right now, but It looks even worse after Solotov finds a double. It's 1 versus 3. Mowgli's on seriously low health. I think there's very little that he's likely to do here. Battling around top metal, will not be able to find Shaiko. Kill comes in. Falcons advantage. They get 2 chances to close this out and call themselves #1 in EML for now at least.
It has just been the Solotov and Mowgli show all game long. Those two going back and forth on who can multi-kill, who can clutch. And I came to it earlier on. We spoke about those 2 rounds that we saw clutched out by Solotov in rounds 4 and rounds 5. They could yet be the difference maker. Could have gone the other way if only Secret could have won one of those 2 rounds. Getting some brilliant shots out from Leaky back as well, only for Mowgli to sort of spin it back on him again and start dancing around like he does. Wonderful stuff to watch. Now we, of course, get to switch and see how Falcons defend against a Team Secret attack. And I think Falcons, from what we saw in that first half, were pretty convincing on the defense team, quite aggressive in their defense as well. It took a few multi-kills coming out from Secret to get a couple of rounds over the line back then. We weren't even sure they'd get any. So at least things are looking okay. I think Falcons could well wrap this up 8-6.
I don't disagree with how things are sat now. If we go back to that defensive half, I can say the same, but we saw how much it meant in the last round, and that is that Falcons won this site both times that they defended it. Secret unable to get a successful attack, but Falcons have just overturned that exact same statistic. We do have the Frost mats being brought along. Interesting choice. Look, in fact, we did see a wild popularity for Frost at one point in the pro play, but seems to have dipped off a little bit. It's been edging towards Capcan over the last sort of month or so, but Frost being brought back to the table, and honestly, might not be a bad shout here. Team Secret maybe not going to have it in the forefront of their mind, and it's so easy to worry about being in those gunfights that you just stray into one of those Frost mats.
I'm sure you can tell us all about straying into Frost mats, Tim.
It's the one thing me and the pros have got in common, Des.
I remember she first made a reappearance in Pro a few years ago, and everyone was just like, pros, they're too good, they won't fall for it. And we just kept seeing slam, 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 slam. It was brilliant. Same as Capcan, you'd expect people to be able to deal with it, but no. Savage looking ready to make a bit of a move here towards the waiting room too. Make his push on forward and towards the lobby and see if he can get something cooking. Nade in his hand coming up top as well. They're really trying to put the hurt onto Leakyback, who as of yet hasn't been pushed away. His teammates around for support too. Now backing away. Secret starting to put this pinch on towards East Airs and on towards 90, but Shaiko with a crucial entry here, Tim. Is that going to be what decides? Is this what gets the ball rolling towards the Falcons win?
Yeah, East Airs might not really count for much. That nade is going to be a good one, though. June manages to pick up Breeder. There was absolutely nowhere that he could move. It means that they know that there's one below. Shaiko's been backed into a corner, but we know how dangerous he is when that's the situation. 4 versus 3 as Mowgli manages to find Solotov. This one looks like it's headed for the only place it was ever destined to go, Des, which would be 15 rounds. But Shaiko says maybe not. Falcons find the answers. It's all up to Mowgli. If anybody can, it's him, but he can't. Shaiko gets the final kill. Why is it always him? Falcons secure top spot in EML.